Yo. Welcome to the show. Today, we have some news to go over, some breaking news to look at. Not a whole bunch of new stuff, really, but more Aaron Rodgers talk, more, rookie stuff, but not a whole lot of breaking news other than Aaron Rodgers and what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. But there is some new news there. What's up, Elgin? What's up, media? What's up, Van Brunt? What's up, people? Drop a question in the chat if you have something you want to get off your chest or you want something answered. I will try and help you out. We'll talk about this Aaron Rodgers stuff right now. Then we're going to get into some we'll get into some overall rankings. I think we'll do, what do we have on the docket today? We were going to do running back rankings. That's right, running back rankings. What's up, Warren? What's up, Robert? Best fantasy football show in America, which means the world says Robert. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that, bro. Yo, Nicholas. Warren in the house. Media. Warren. And Elgin, thank you guys. Hit the thumbs up on your way in the door. Por favor. And let's break down some of this stuff. So, hour 3 right here. Hugh Jackson. Coach Hugh Jackson joining us. One of the coolest dudes in the industry, to be honest with you. Like, Hugh Jackson's, you're going to see why I like Hugh Jackson so much. He's such a good guy. But we're going to maybe break down some of the rookie stuff, the rookie content. So Hugh Jackson will be here shortly, probably in about an hour to 2 hours. And then we'll go over some of the rookie stuff with Hugh. We'll see what Hugh thinks, because I think Hugh is a good judge of NFL talent. Hugh's going to give us a little bit of knowledge from the Hugh Jackson College. So stay tuned for that. Let's talk about this A-Rod stuff. A-Rod. Okay, first of all, there was this news report before that one. So let's go with this one first. This news report was that there's NFL Network talking about how Aaron Rodgers told the Green Bay free agents, "Hey, I won't be returning. I won't be returning." And so they knew, what they were dealing with if they were going to stay long term with the team. But I've heard a lot of rumblings and whispers that a lot of the players didn't take it. Some of them didn't take it as seriously as others, and that's why you saw a lot of extensions and people signing there. Aaron Jones came back. They brought a few pieces back, and they clearly weren't scared off of A-Rod not playing, or So who knows what's really being told behind the scenes? Like, we keep hearing all this stuff. Like, everybody says A-Rod's not coming back. Everybody says somebody's barber's sister's brother's dog walking stepson's stepfriend told us that A-Rod said he ain't coming back. Like, we're hearing a lot of hearsay, a lot of speculation. And my advice is to take it seriously. Like, if you're talking about trading for Aaron Jones, let's say, take it seriously, but don't overreact and think that, okay, I'm going to give away the farm. I'm giving away Aaron Jones because he'll be garbage without A-Rod there. I'm giving away DeVonta Adams. I'm not going to draft DeVonta Adams. I think if we start freaking out before anything's even happened, now it's good to be preemptive. Be preemptive. Don't get caught holding the bag when you can get rid of somebody on the high. Like, if you could trade DeVonta Adams for Justin Jefferson in Dynasty, I would do it. I'd do that anyway. But I'm just saying, don't freak out yet, because we could be looking at Rodgers returning. And that brings me to my next news post right here. So this was today. This is the most recent of all Aaron Rodgers news. And this one is that Packers teammate James Jones, former Packers teammate James Jones, believes, now this is another hearsay. This is a guy that's not even on the team. Okay, but this feels a little more realistic in my opinion. If you want my professional 19 years in the business, reading news wires, trying to read the tea leaves and come up with a conclusion, a safe, logical, not guaranteed conclusion, but logical conclusion. This one feels a little more realistic in my opinion, because there's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of things that people think are in Rodgers' control, and they're not. So, former Packers teammate James Jones believes Aaron Rodgers' situation with the team is fixable. And I believe that is more likely than an A-Rod trade for right now. That could change. The reason I say that is, number one, I don't think Green Bay is going to want to trade him. Green Bay came out on draft day saying we're very much looking forward to moving forward with Aaron Rodgers as our quarterback. If a trade was going to go down, the Packers were advised by everyone, I'm sure, and they would have been smart enough if they were going to get rid of A-Rod to get one of these rookie quarterbacks, to get the number 3 overall. They could have got the number 3 overall from the 49ers. They didn't. They didn't even want to move forward. The Niners called up, heard he wasn't really available, and hung up. That's how quick that went down. Now, you could say this. You could say, well, Smitty, maybe they miscalculated. They said, we're going to think this whole thing blows over, and then it gets worse, and then they don't get a 3rd overall pick or a 2021 first rounder and a future first rounder. Maybe they don't get what they would have got had they thought this was going to go the distance with Rodgers. It's possible they miscalculated and now they still trade him. But what I'm saying is, if they were going to trade him at all, I think they would have done it on draft day when they could have got the most now help and draft capital. And I don't think that they then trade him later and not take advantage of that, if that makes sense. So let's see here. It says in here, it's all about making sure we have the key guys we need to win championships, Jones said. Jones insisted that Rodgers will not hold out. That was just a signal Rodgers had been sending the past week, but perhaps a softening is now in order. Rodgers rattled his saber it's fitting, on May 4th of May. The 4th of May. May the 4th be with you. Rodgers rattled his saber, ironically, on that day. And I think he made some noise. I think he probably is going to get what he wants moving forward if he stays in Green Bay. Contract, it says right here, potential contract renegotiation. I think all that's going to help. I think they want Rodgers there. Everything I hear is that Love's not ready. Everything I hear is there's no faith that Love can take over as a starter. Nobody wants that to happen. And so, I don't know. At this point, I'm feeling like, yeah, there's still a shot that A-Rod gets traded. Yes, there's still a shot that A-Rod ends up in Las Vegas or Denver or maybe Washington. And Washington would be very interesting. That's a new team that's popped up. But I just feel like right now, if I had to guess, and it's an educated, calculated, logical guess, not a locked-in, loaded, I dig my heels in, he's not getting traded. I'm not saying he's not getting traded. There's still a possibility this thing keeps getting worse for the Green Bay Packers. But as of right now, I'm feeling like it's fixable. I agree with James Jones. I feel like there's only so much Rodgers can do. I don't think Rodgers wants to hold out. He is getting older. Every year he holds out, especially if he holds out, he's going to be one step closer to the drop-off, the decline. He knows that. I don't think he wants to sit out a year and then come back. That would be really hard at his age to sit out a year, maybe lose a little step, and come back in and end his career that way. Think about it. He doesn't want to do that. He's playing great. He's in a rhythm. He's playing as good as he's ever played. The Packers did really well last year. He's surrounded by talent that he loves and knows. He's got rapport with all these guys. They have weapons. They have the weapons to win. They need to listen to their commander. Their commander says, this is why we didn't win. Let me help get us there. That's all A-Rod wants. He probably wants a little extension. I mean, who doesn't? I'd like an extension, but I don't think Green Bay wants to trade him. Everything I'm hearing from people connected to the situation is that, as close as I can get to it from my perspective, I mean, I don't have like inside guys in the middle of the whole thing, you know, picking up the phone in the bushes, like right where this is happening. I have guys that are connected to people that are connected. So it's like degrees of separation, mind you, but that tell me that it's not in their interest to trade him in their mind. Like, of course we know it's not in their interest to trade him if they want to win. The Green Bay Packers are built to win right now. They're not building for 4 or 5 years from now. Like, it would be really difficult to convince this organization. This is what I'm hearing. Very difficult to convince this organization to go with a rebuild mode when you just signed Aaron Jones to a massive deal, an extension. You have a few years left of peak performance before you start worrying about when the drop-off will happen for Davante Adams. You drafted a nice little rookie wide receiver in Amari Rodgers for A-Rod. You've addressed other pieces of the team that should solidify and make this team top 6 overall, top 7, top 8 team, right away. I mean, I feel that way. I don't know how you feel about it, but if A-Rod's commanding this Green Bay Packers roster in 2021, I'm feeling top 6, top 7, top 8 team, like right out the gate, and then we'll see how they play together. We'll see how everybody stays healthy, how A-Rod's looking. I think it's a top 6, top 8 team. And so A-Rod knows what he's got. I think A-Rod's definitely rattling the lightsaber. But I don't think he ultimately is going to leave. That's my prediction. I'd love to know what you guys think. I'll throw your comments on screen. Kenny says Smitty over A-Rod. Grant over A-Rod, even with phone issues. Okay. Can A-Rod co-host the show? I hope so. Team rankings, we might be able to do that. I have the 1.1, 1.4, 1.5, 1.7 in an upcoming rookie draft. How would you attack this? Bro, I don't have time for that shit, Nicholas. Come on, bro. How would I... Here, let's break down this... I'm halfway joking with you, Nicholas. I'm halfway not. But I don't know, bro. I don't know your team needs. It's a tight end premium. I hate these super flex tight end premiums. And then with a twist of you get to start one quarterback every other bye week. It's like these crazy freaking leagues where you don't have rankings for those. No rankings exist for some of these leagues. Not saying this exact one, but super flex, tight end premium, running backs get half the rushing yard. Like, sometimes people throw those questions at me, and I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to break this down in 2 minutes, bro? 1.1, 1.4, 1.5, 1.7. I don't know, bro. Super flex, you probably got to go with I don't know who your quarterbacks are, but Nicholas, I will probably say Jamar Chase, Harris, or Lawrence are going to be your 1.1. I just don't know your quarterback needs. 1.4, you're probably going to land Pitts. Actually, you could go Pitts, bro. Tight end premium. Name your roster. Name your roster, bro. Name your roster. Name your roster, Nicholas. Let's break this down. Let's break this down. Let's do this for Nicholas. Nicholas, we're doing it live. Nicholas, you're my boy. We don't want to run Nicholas off. Nicholas, don't leave. Stay, Nicholas. Poor guy. Yeah, he is straight up flexing. Nicholas, that's flexing, bro. I got the 1, the 4, the 5, the 7. Dak and Burrow. Okay, so, look, it's super flex. You always want to entertain quarterbacks. They're hard to come by, but you got 2 good quarterbacks. They're both young enough. I'm not going quarterback at 1.1 and 1.4. I agree with Kenny. And super... Whoops! I agree with Kenny. I think in a tight end premium, you don't need the quarterback, so you got to go Kyle Pitts at 1.1. Unless you have like name your tight end. Nicholas, the details would help. Let's give you a subtle.
Take a lap. Take a lap.
Nicholas, where's my music? Sanders, Dobbins, Edmonds. Ooh. I mean, I like Dobbins, but Sanders, I don't know how I feel about him long term. You got to go Harris if he's there at 1.4. So my get, Nicholas, tell me if I'm wrong, but you're probably going to have a lot of quarterbacks go in the top 5, right? You're going to have at least 2 or 3, I'm assuming. So if you go Kyle Pitts, what's your prediction, Nicholas? That it'll go Lawrence, maybe Harris, then Trey Lance or Fields or something like that. So you're probably going to get Jamar Chase or Harris at 4. Am I correct in that? You project to have Harris or Chase at 4? Your wide receivers are A.J. Brown, Deontay. I love A.J. Brown. Deontay's not bad. I tried and trade Thielen somehow, man. Try and figure out a way to use him in like Deontay or Sanders and Thielen for some kind of undervalued running back asset. It wouldn't be crazy either to go after James Robinson, on the very, very cheap using like a Thielen or something if you could do that. I don't know. Just in case he ends up balling out and being a pretty decent running back filler for you. But you need a little help at running back. You got to go Harris. I don't love your wide receivers, but they can definitely. I love A.J. Brown and Judy could rise up. Don't trade Judy. You could be okay at wide receiver. I worry about your running backs. You've got to go Harris if Harris will fall. So at least 2, yeah. Then you can get Harris or so you're going Kyle Pitts and you're going Chase or Harris at 1.4. DeVonta Smith probably at 1.5. I'd consider another running back. You can turn this team around with this draft, bro. You've got a lot of picks and you need a lot of things, but you've got a lot of picks coming your way. So I like it, bro. Smitty, I have the 1.1 to Superflex Dynasty rookie draft. Which QB do I take? You take Lawrence, bro. He's the 1.1. I like Trey Lance. I love Trey Lance. I love Zach Wilson, but Trevor Lawrence is the more locked and loaded of the two. Okay, back to the news. Chuba Hubbard. Panthers signed 4th round running back Chuba Hubbard to a 4-year contract. I like this. I didn't love it when he landed there, but like I had one of those like I smiled and grimaced at the same time. I was happy because now we've got a super handcuff again for Christian McCaffrey. We lost Mike Davis. It was a super handcuff. You had top 5 running back numbers or top 1 to 10 because McCaffrey's 1 to 5. Mike Davis starting in that offense was like 5 to 10. So you had a locked and loaded 1 to 10 running back. Locked and loaded. Like you felt invincible at running back with those 2. Then we lost Mike Davis to Atlanta. And then now you have a super handcuff again. He literally is a super handcuff. If let's say McCaffrey can't stay healthy, Chuba Hubbard has a real opportunity to become a league winner. So I really, really, really like the acquiring Chuba Hubbard in all dynasty. I love getting him late in redraft. I don't know how late yet. I'm assuming it's going to be after the Pollards, the Madisons. But when those super handcuffs start going, assume that you're going to have to get ready to pounce on Hubbard, even in redraft, after those top super handcuffs start going. Because then people are going to be thinking, if Pollard went, if Madison went, God, I better get my backup. And I think people will wait. I think Pollard will go ahead of Chuba Hubbard. I think those guys will go ahead, but you will likely be able to get him last up out of those super handcuffs. What are we doing here? Smitty, I'm hoping to land Chase and Pitts. Yeah, definitely take Pitts at 1 though, bro. Good job, Nicholas. Way to stick in there. I didn't mean to yell at you. It was just a lot you're throwing at me. And I didn't have all the information, Nicholas. It's my fault. It's me, not you. I'm going 0 running back this year. Or 1 running back. I don't blame you, Silver. It depends on where you're at, though. If it's an auction or is it... Sermon over... Chuba over Sermon. Media, did you mean to put Sermon over Chuba? Chuba Hubbard? Or did you get your... do we need to give you a math lesson? Because you're a 49er fan and you just said Chuba Hubbard greater than Sermon. Media. Let me send you a link, Media, if you want to get on. And if you guys send me an Instagram message, I will play it for the chat. Okay, here you go, Media. Jump on and explain yourself. Let me copy this link. Why can't I copy the link? Why? I'm trying to copy the link. Come on, iPhone. Stupid iPhone. Let's see. All right, Media, here you go. I can't even get the link to copy. Let me email it to myself. This feels like I'm faxing it to myself. This is how impatient I am in today's technology. I can't airdrop the link to myself right now because I think I need to restart everything. So I have to actually email myself the link, and it feels like a telegram. I feel so long. I feel like I've waited a decade for this link to arrive. Oh my God. Here you go, Media. Explain yourself, bro. If you like Chuba over Sermon, I ain't mad at you. I'm just confused because you're a biased, in a good way, 49er fan, and you just told me Chuba Hubbard's better than Sermon, and I want to hear you explain yourself. I don't hate it. I like both. Smitty, who do you like in round 4, Kareem Hunt or Najee Harris? Bro, Watkins, you're not getting Najee Harris in the 4th round, bro. Watkins, come on, bro. No chance, man. Let me put it this way. I like Harris in redraft at 2.12, 2.11, 3.01, 3.02. Like, that's a great pick right there. Kareem Hunt's a 4th or 5th rounder. I love Kareem Hunt. But we're not even talking apples to apples here, bro. Like, this isn't even close. All right, Media. Explain yourself.
I did mess it up. I meant...
Hold on. I don't know if it's your volume or mine. 1 second. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
There, now I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I meant to say certain over Chuba.
Yeah, so we're working on the math. You're still are you what math are you in right now?
Well, I already finished math, so I already finished my math class.
It's a greater sign. But explain yourself. Okay, let me correct it for you on screen. Hold on. So we'll switch this over. How's that? Better?
Yes.
All right, now explain this comment and tell people why.
Okay. Well,
Pull your is that mic working? Because if so, pull it down.
Well, I'm using another mic.
Okay, so you're okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So I think that Sermon. I mean, he's gonna be in a great offense. We've improved the offensive line as well. I mean, you have Kyle Shanahan and Bobby Turner being the coaches at running back, and
Yeah, and it's not, like, here's the thing though. Let's say McCaffrey went down. Hope he doesn't. Like, McCaffrey goes down, or let's say he gets abducted by aliens. Let's use that. I don't want to talk about McCaffrey getting hurt. He gets abducted by aliens tomorrow. Okay, we can't find him. They leave a little note. They say, "Good luck, Chuba," and Chuba's the starter tomorrow, do you and let's say Shanahan comes out and says Sermon's starting. This dude's off the hook. Now who do you like?
I would still take like Sermon, I think, just because of the coaching. Like the Niners are
Yeah,
pretty good at
I don't
developing.
I
And
don't totally
they just
disagree. Like that's the second or first or third best rushing attack in the league, and if he's starting for San Fran, he could produce big numbers. So I initially wanted to hang up on you, but as I thought about it, I'm like, no, this is actually pretty close. Chuba Hubbard, we don't know what we're getting to. We don't know what we're getting out of Sermon, but I believe Sermon would translate immediately in that San Fran offense because anybody would, and he's a grinded out between the tackle guy. Chuba Hubbard, we don't know if he'd even hold up or how he would play, if they'd be able to get him the football. If Christian McCaffrey got pulled out of that offense, would the offense collapse? Would they be able to do what they did with Mike Davis? Darnold, we don't even know if we can trust Darnold. How will that mess up the equation there in Carolina? So in that scenario, what about a sharing carry Trey Sermon and a starting Chuba Hubbard?
okay, so you're basically saying if like, the Niners, like if the Niners do their normal thing,
Their normal thing.
and Chuba Hubbard, I mean, I think I would take Chuba probably
Okay.
because I feel like the Niners probably aren't gonna, just give him all the carries.
I think I got you away from some of your biased thinking. When you're playing fantasy football, you're taking off your Niner cap and you're like, okay, I can logically break this down. I like it. Big question. Before you leave today, can we get a dunk? What do you guys want to see? A windmill? Can we get something where you dunk it in the air? Like I want you dunking while you're still in the air. I don't want your feet on the ground when you're dunking. Oh, don't tear something. Yeah! Attaboy. Okay. Oh! There we go. Okay. Now, tell me what you think about Trey Lance starting week 1.
I don't see it happening.
You don't see it happening. Do you think I'm going to be able to talk you into that in a good month?
Nope. I do think it's obviously gonna be an open competition because they're not just gonna hand Jimmy Garoppolo the job, but I think that
This is my intern, by the way. Go ahead.
he will say, and I mean, I know this was Jed York who said this, and obviously he's not the one making the actual decision at the end of the day. So I mean, it just depends on, I think what the like Shanahan wants to do, but if he's really like just tired of Jimmy or he's not like doing great in camp or just starts to look bad, like I feel like training camp it doesn't mean everything because like you could have used that, I think it was like 2 years ago he had those 5 interceptions, straight 5 interceptions in training camp, and he did pretty well that season. So
Here's my thinking about, and I said this on the Instagram live last night, so I'm repeating myself for anybody that saw me there, but I want my YouTube community to know. I think Trey Lance starts week 1. I get that there's an odds game we're playing here. Like, is there a percentage chance that Jimmy G starts week 1? Absolutely. But I think when it comes down to it, if the Niners believe that they can still win games even with Trey Lance making some mistakes and learning and absorbing, but they say even a mistake prone, rookie quarterback won't be that mistake prone in this offense. He's so protected, so many weapons, security blankets everywhere, Kittle, wide receivers galore, running back. You don't have to worry about the running backs. Like you guys have that on lock. You're going to have a top 1 to 4 rushing attack in 2021. There'll be very few mistakes that can even be made. And on top of that, this guy's an improvising machine because he would drop back, make tough calls to tuck and run. And a lot of people gave him an unfair label as he would tuck and run too much. And I venture to say that his 28 touchdowns and 0 INTs in his last season played proves that he made good tuck and run decisions. You would have a lot more mistakes on your resume if you made bad pocket decisions. So putting him in a Niners offense, if you're Shanahan and you're like, okay, look, I think Jimmy G ends up getting hurt if I'm making a calculated, educated guess here. That's going to leave us hanging at some point during the year. And Trey Lance being brought up from day one, like I know they're not starting him now, they're going to make it a competition, but if he looks good and they realize this guy looks amazing, we're going to give him the majority of the first team reps in practice. He will be more prepared for week 1 if they give him a whole offseason of preparing than he'll be prepared for week 7, getting halftime work, getting second team reps, getting, different facing different competition in practice. He will be more ready, I think, for week 1 than he would be for like week 5, week 6. I think standing on the sideline for 3 or 4 weeks doesn't do you much good. And it only causes unrest. Could he still come in and win? Probably. But I just think that Trey Lance comes in week 1, makes minimal mistakes as he absorbs and learns. You still win the games, a majority of them, and then you have a guy that's totally firing on all cylinders in week 5, 6, 7. And on top of that, he gives you such a different, like, offensive look. Mm-hmm. Are you really going to walk through all the offseason preparing for a Jimmy G quarterback-led team and then transition into this new, like, you're just going to open up a new playbook mid-season and be like, okay, we couldn't run these with Jimmy G, but we can run them with Lance, when you can prep the whole offseason to run a certain system with a certain quarterback, because they're going to run very different offenses. Even though it's going to be the same essential playbook, there's a lot of plays that you're going to run with Lance in there that you won't run with Jimmy G. And sure, you could practice them in practice, but you only have so much time to do shit. Like, are you going to do all this prep work for your rookie in case he gets shoved in there? You're probably going to do only so much of it. And so you're limiting yourself in week 5, 6, 7 from really opening up when you can be prepared and ready to go. So I think Shanahan's going to make a calculated guess or decision and say, if he looks good early on, Shanahan's going to go, look, they're on kind of level playing field. And like Dr. Ross said last night or the night before, but I emphasized what he said, it really, and then what you said, really made me feel even more confident in it. When Dr. Ross says Jimmy G essentially hasn't played in, how long has it been since Jimmy G's played?
Do you mean healthy or just played? Okay, healthy, I would say since like week 1 of the season.
Yeah, so it's been a minute for Jimmy G. Everybody assuming Jimmy G's going to just walk into this competition, because it is a competition. That's another negative. Like, it's not like they're saying Jimmy G's our guy. It's going to be a competition.
Yeah.
Jimmy G's walking in like behind as well. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that was a great point by Raj, who doesn't necessarily feel my stance as hardcore as I do, but he's kind of like in between, but thinks it's very possible Jimmy G could or Lance could start week 1, but it's more likely that Jimmy G will start week 1. So he's kind of like in the middle, but more leaning Jimmy G. But then what was it you said? You made a good point last night there. I was like, that's even more of a reason.
Well, I was saying that, because I think this was my point. I was like, well, the problem is that if you sit out Lance, and obviously because I forgot at that point I forgot Jimmy G, technically it was around the same time that he sat out. But I was like, for Lance, it doesn't really make sense for him to sit out too much, because he needs to play, because he might get too rusty. And that obviously was before, like I said, before Raj mentioned about, Jimmy G has been also pretty much out for the same time.
Who's heavier, Giggles or DeVonta Smith? Giggles weighs a good $150.
DeVonta Smith.
DeVonta Smith. I think you could take DeVonta, bro. I think you could out-dunk him. Matt, let me think about this. I mean, I don't.
I have a question for you though. Could I out-dunk that international guy that the Niners signed? I forget his name.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, let's talk fantasy football. Let's talk fantasy football real quick, so we don't want to always go Niners. I know that Boss is mad in here. Boss doesn't want any more Niner talk. He says, I'm getting tired of Niner talk on a fantasy football show. It's fantasy football relevant and related, Boss, but I will change topics for you because we have talked a lot of Niner stuff. Who is your surprise running back, Giggles, that could finish number 1 for all running backs in 2021 that you wouldn't rank even close to being number 1? Like, you're not going to rank them 1 or 2. Like, give me somebody that's got to be kind of
around the whole league, right?
Yeah, like, I'm okay with it being like a Jonathan Taylor, not too far from the one, but like,
you're asking me who's going to be the top running back?
If the top surprise number 1 running back, you have to pick somebody that you're not typically going to ever see ranked number 1. It could be someone like Chubb or Taylor that's like down at 5, 6, whatever, but you're never going to see him ranked number 1. Give me a surprise running back 1 overall. Remember, your internship's on the line. I will revoke it.
I go with Derrick Henry.
Okay. I think some people might have him 1. I think you need to give us a different one.
Okay. Just to look at like the running back.
Buck. I was joking. Giggles is pushing 140, but he's lifting. Hey Giggles, when you in about a year or so, I bet you start lifting and putting on some massive weight. I was like your weight at your age. I was really skinny, man. I was just sprouting because you look pretty tall. How tall are you?
Like 5'7", 5'8".
Oh, you look like you're like 6 foot, bro. You look like a monster. You look like.
No, my goal is once I actually go to like college, I'm gonna try and go to the gym and actually.
Bro, you don't have to wait. You could do it now. You could go to college. Big, like get a couple dumbbells, start curling now. I'd eat a whole extra large pizza by myself and just sit in the dorm room just curling, bro. I got swole real quick in college, but you could go swole. Just an idea. Who's your running back?
Oh, you want me to pick a different one? I thought you said that one was okay.
Oh, who did you say?
I said Derrick Henry.
Yeah, can you give me one more?
Okay.
Then I'm gonna let you go. This is our intern, guys. His internship's on the line.
I know you're gonna hate this one, Smitty, because I know you've hated him in fantasy, but I'm gonna go with Mixon.
He said Mixon. We're just gonna disconnect. Let's see if you can call back. Take a lap, Ronan. Media is the GOAT. Look, everyone likes media. Media ain't going anywhere, okay? Let's get him back on the horn. How long until he finds... No, he's talking from a different mic. He said Mixon. I yanked him from the show. But I hope he calls back. I do want to give him my proper goodbye. We like media. Media brings a lot of good to the table. And here he is. Joe Mixon, huh?
I knew you were gonna kick me right away.
Yeah, it's okay. Mixon, I like Mixon at third round value. I think he could climb a lot. I'm afraid he'll climb into the second round again, but I don't mind him in third round value. Like, could I see it? Is there a world where he could be top 5? Sure, but he's failed 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row, he's busted on everybody, and people are at least moving him to the third round at least. But I could see the Bengals really turning it around fast, and that could help open things up for Mixon. So you're not wrong in that he could be a value grab this year. That's why, I was like, hey, call back. I overreacted. All right, Giggles. People love you. People love you. Get a couple dumbbells. Well, I'm doing a bunch of challenges. I'm doing a challenge. I know you guys are getting tired of the Niner talk, but real quickly, I'm predicting Lance to win the starting job by week 1. And if they end up starting Lance in week 1, my counterparts on the quad box, on the Niner quad box that I do on Instagram, Vlad and C-Mac, I've got bets with them. Vlad's going to eat like 20 or 40 hot dogs in a row until he throws up if Lance starts week 1. C-Mac is going to eat 4 heaping scoops of mayonnaise in a row if Lance starts week 1. And if I lose, I've got to run with a 45-pound weight a whole mile on a live stream. I got to carry a plate. I may try and put it in a backpack. I'm not sure. But I got to carry a plate, 45-pound plate, a whole mile. And then I've got to do, on a different live stream, 400 push-ups in one live stream. But I'm only going to, my body is going to give out at like 150 to 200. But we'll see. Media, do you want to do a challenge? Lance, week 1?
Let me think of a challenge and I'll just DM you.
You don't want to do it on the spot? All right. I will, think of one for me too. Maybe it'll be something. Maybe it'll be something to get you into shape, get you into that swole look as you go into college. What's your degree going to be?
I haven't really picked like exactly what area in business yet.
Pick something applicable, bro. Don't get a I got a psych degree. You can't use it for anything. And then I later got.
I'm thinking like MIS stuff.
Okay. Analytics would be good. Some kind of degree that like literally you couldn't get a job unless you had that degree. That's when you make a degree valuable. If you get a degree that's vague, it doesn't help you get a job because anybody can still get that job. But if you get a degree that has an applicable, something applicable to it, like teaching, for example, engineering, no one can become an engineer unless they have an engineering degree. Nobody can become a teacher unless they have a teaching degree. So if you're going to go business, you can still do that, but make sure it's like analytics. It's something that's going to be like, okay, we're hiring somebody to run this part of our business department, social media, do something in social media. But they have the skill, like they're going to hire that person with analytic, background. So that's my advice, bro. Otherwise, you're getting something where it's like you're just in a big pond and everybody's got a vague degree and you're all fighting for this like business job. I've got a general marketing degree. I've got a general business degree. Hire me. I got a psych degree. I couldn't use it for anything. I could have been a social worker if I wanted. I think that was about it. I enjoyed my degree. I love psychology, but it did not get me anything coming out of college. I should have niched down. All right, Giggles. A lot to think about. Lot to process. We appreciate you. The people love you, Giggles. We'll talk to you later. Love Giggles. He's the best. He's the best. I think I'm going to adopt him. He's supposedly Raj wants to adopt him, but I think I could get him on board. I think he could become a Smithers. I think we could get Giggles to change his last name, become a Smithers. I think we can do it. Okay. Mr. Giggles Minshew. I don't know what that means. Let's go to the rankings. I think we're a little early on that, but we're going to go to the hour 2 mark, which will be rankings on the marker board. So let's kick it on over to the marker board. All right. Here we go. Let's do, let's see, how should we do this? Should we do overall running backs for Dynasty, or do you guys want to do redraft? You're Raj's son already. Man, I can't convince this kid. He's loyal to Raj. Okay. I gotta send the link to Hugh Jackson real quick. Hold on one second, guys. While I do that real quickly. Man, not being able to send myself a airdrop link is really bothering me. Okay, so are we doing redraft or dynasty? Redraft or dynasty rankings? Dynasty? Okay, let's do dynasty. Dynasty, running back, ranks. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We'll start there. Dynasty rankings. And let me send Hugh Jackson this link real quick. Hugh will be joining us very soon. And you guys are going to love Hugh Jackson, man. He's such a good dude. All right, let me copy this link. Send it to Hugh. Hugh Jackson. Oh. Sorry, guys. 1 second. Link. Copy. All right. So, number 1 overall. Pretty easy call. I don't think there's much of an argument at all. I don't know what you guys think. Who do you think's the number 1 dynasty running back? I'd like to hear anybody that has a different answer than CMC. All right. Hugh has the link. Sorry about that. So who's the number 1 running back in everybody's mind besides CMC? Does anybody have a different answer than CMC? I'm going to write CMC because I don't have a different answer, and these are my rankings. But I would love to have a little debate around this. I'd love to know what you guys think, if anybody has any differing opinions about who the number 1 running back is. Number two in Dynasty. This is tough. You still got Kamara. You still got Barkley. You still got Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook worries me in Dynasty because, he's injury prone. He's worrisome. Jonathan Taylor is, getting into the conversation of top 3 or 4, right? Top 2 or 3. When do we start talking about Najee Harris? When do we start talking about guys like I don't think you can put anybody else in there. Taylor. Kenny Powers wants to go Taylor. King likes Cook. Taylor, based on age, is the only argument, but Max signing might damper. I don't think Max going to damper anything. I like Cook a lot. I just don't know that I have Cook at number 2. Cook worries me because he's if you owned Cook last year, you were holding your breath like every freaking carry, man. And then he hobbled off the field at least 2 times where it looked like he was done for the year, or at least multiple week injury. You're like, this guy's not coming back. Then he got back on the field. Now that shows toughness. I do like that. Showed toughness, but he worries the hell out of me. Ryan says Christian McCaffrey, Barkley, Taylor, Harris, Cook. It's a pretty decent looking list there. I'm going to go... I don't know where Kamara is, though. I'm going to go with... God, God, I almost want to go Kamara. I know redraft Kamara is my 2, but in Dynasty, I guess Barkley. I'm going to go with Barks. Number 2. I'm going to go... I'm still going Kamara here. I still worry about Cook, but I'm going Cook. I'm still going Taylor. So Barkley, Kamara, Cook, Taylor, or Christian McCaffrey, Barkley, Kamara, Cook, Taylor. And I could argue back and forth with myself on these guys. I kind of feel like you can go in 100 different directions. I think there's an argument to make if you're thinking only long term, like if you can't win now, then this might be the best option. You know what I mean? Like if you're thinking about it from a long-term perspective versus a now built for the future, but also more of a now perspective, then you're gonna have a guy like Cook ranked maybe 3. You might even have Kamara or Cook ranked, 2. But yeah, I do worry about Cook. I don't worry about Kamara. I think he'll be fine. I think they used him on the ground a lot last year, and that impressed me. I feel pretty confident that they know what they got on the ground and through the air. And Taysom Hill didn't have the offense down much at all. So he's preparing as the quarterback. So if he does go in there full time, which I think could eventually happen, he will be fine. Long game Taylor or Harris. Yeah. So Harris, I'll put Harris here. And I think that if you were in rebuild mode, you could argue Harris right in here. I totally could. If you're going long game, if you're going super long game, I could argue Taylor and Harris both right here. If you're going ultra long, CMC, Barkley, Taylor, and Harris, I could totally get behind that. And I could totally get behind putting Cook and Kamara under those guys if you're thinking extra long. Extra long game, bro. Dropping the extra long game on the board. So point of this is there's no absolute here. You need to determine what you're looking at, how long term you're looking, because no dynasty ranking is going to cover everybody's situation. Like if you've got a year or two before you're going to be popping off in a contender, these guys, Cook, even Kamara in that context, these guys fall. These guys fall a little bit. You know what I mean? And then these guys go up. Taylor goes up. Harris goes up. It all depends on... You can't even read that after I butchered that. It all depends on your mentality. So I just wanted to preface that because I know a lot of people are going to be like, no way I have Harris that low, but you're thinking long term. No way I have Taylor's my 2. Well, you're thinking long term, or might be. So who's number 7 at this point? We've got Gibson. We've got Henry, Elliott, Aaron Jones, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Nick Chubb, Eckler, J.K. Dobbins. Who are we liking at number 7? I have to say Gibson looks really appealing here. J.K. I like, but I still worry about the volume. But I like J.K. a lot. Henry, I'm not feeling it in Dynasty yet. I get that he's a talent. I get that he's built different. I get that he could have another elite year left. But I mean, I'm not taking him over Gibson. I like Gibson a lot. Zeke's tough for me in Dynasty to put this high when you got a guy like Gibson who's young, ready to rumble. I don't mind CEH. I think people are so undervaluing CEH. Javonte Williams, long play. I don't mind that either. That's not a bad. God, this is tough. This is tough. I'm going to say at this point, Gibson. I'm going to say, you know what's crazy is I do like, yeah, Akers is getting there. I know a lot of you like Akers way higher than I do. And I worry about Akers staying healthy, and I worry about him getting not facing some kind of McVay caused, debacle. I like CEH better than Akers, and I know a lot of you don't agree with that. Akers, JK, Aaron Jones. How do we rank Aaron Jones this late? It's hard to in Dynasty rank him higher, but it seems so late. Henry. I mean, this is so hard. Chubb. I mean, these are guys that I stay away from, but at a certain point, you draft them because you can even trade them. Eckler, Elliott. I mean, how do you not argue Elliott's worth here? Elliott could be 10, 14. Chubb could be 10 or 13. Aaron Jones could be 10 or 15. Like, this is not easy at this stage in the game. Do I have JK in? Yeah, I have JK in there. Henry, Akers, Clyde, Chubb, Eckler, Monty, Javonte, 16, Eckler, 17, Etienne, 18. God, I feel like this is getting messy. I know a lot of you are going to say Swift. Where the hell is Swift? How come you don't have Swift there? Just because I like these guys better. Man, I could argue Swift like in here, either like 16 to 18. Like I could put Swift that high. I could put Swift as high as 14, but I'm not going Swift in the top 10. No way. Monty fell out. I mean, I don't even like these, to be honest. It's crazy. It's all over the map. Like, but again, like even with Chubb, how can you argue that any of these guys are any less valuable? How can you argue that any of these guys aren't more valuable? How do you argue Javonte Williams doesn't have top 10 appeal? How do you argue that Etienne doesn't have top 12 to 13, 14 appeal? Some people are going to say Swift is number 10. I get it. Like this is really close. There's nothing about this that says, "Hey, that's a guarantee. Hey, that's crazy." It's like my point in this is that running backs are really, really messy and hard to predict this year. And if you're in a draft, let's say this is round 1, this is round 2, this is round 3, this is round 4. Taking running backs in this range, so in the like the later half of the first round, so in this red zone, taking running backs in the entire second round and in the first half of the second half of the first round, it feels like you're getting the same value of guys you would get like in the third, even the top of the fourth. Because if you look at Javonte Williams here, you're probably getting him somewhere in that range. You look at Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you're probably getting him somewhere in this 3 to 4 range. JK, you may have to overpay for JK. He kind of goes all over the map. Aaron Jones, maybe Aaron Jones falls in a dynasty into the third round. Like, you could literally get, an A. Jones and a CEH in a dynasty startup. And, I mean, are they really that much worse than a Cook and a, Akers? it's tough to say, like, dynasty wise. It depends on your thinking. Like, it depends. I mean, I would definitely rather have Cook and Akers, but at the expense of getting a wide receiver like DK and Ridley. You know, would you rather have DK, Ridley, CEH, and Aaron Jones? Would you rather have CEH, Aaron Jones, DK, and Ridley? Or would you rather have, let's say, Cook, we'll call it JK, and then name some wide receivers that you would get if you did that build? You'd have like McLaurin and Evans, McLaurin. I know you can't read that. So Cook, JK, McLaurin, and Evans, or Clyde, Aaron Jones, DK, and Ridley. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to have lesser running backs than Clyde and Aaron Jones in the third-ish round, third into the fourth round. But are they that far off compared to the receiver drop-off from DK and Ridley, from like McLaurin and Evans, or, Godwin, or McLaurin and I don't know who you could get in the third or fourth round in a dynasty startup. Damian Harris, top 20 running back? I don't know, bro. I mean, I like Harris a little bit, but I'm not putting him in the top 20. Mixon didn't crack my top 19, bro. Didn't crack my top 19. And I don't think I'm crazy. I still had Michael Carter. I still had a couple running backs that I feel in Dynasty are better than Mixon. Once you get to like Kareem Hunt, Mixon, Carson, Mostert, Drake, then a couple of the deeper rookies, then that's where Mixon is for me. And I know that not everybody's going to enjoy that take. I know a lot of Mixon truthers out there are going to be like, Smitty, third time's the charm. You need to back up off. But I will say that let's go from like a bull perspective here, okay? Who are the running backs that I don't even want to rank these. We'll call this like upside. Who are the upside top 5 running backs that have the most ceiling given their value? So McCaffrey can't really be in this because you're paying a hefty price. You got to get what he delivers in order to earn your value back. Kamara, same thing. Barkley, same thing. Cook, same thing. Taylor could be in this mix. I'm going to write Taylor over here. I don't know where I want to place him yet. But Taylor could be the number 1 running back, and you're getting him at like 7, 8, 9 overall. So Taylor becomes one of the first upside top 5 running backs. I think Najee Harris needs to be talked about. Harris could be a top 2, 3, 4, 5 running back, and you're getting him well outside of that range. So Harris feels like he has that kind of upside. I think JK needs to be talked about. JK could be a top 5 running back, but yet he's ranking way, way outside. I'll go ahead and give you Akers, because Akers is going late and he does have that potential. I think he's got a lot. He's got the most risk out of all these guys, but I'll put him there talent wise. I think CEH has the potential to be a league winner, upside top 5 running back. This is Dynasty. Javonte Williams. I think you could even throw Etienne in. These are not in order yet. We're going to slot them over here in a second. I think that's about it. Everybody else is, I don't think they're in spots that scream. I guess Gibson. He's ranking like 7 to 10, and he could be a number 2 or 3. Everybody else feels like they almost have to earn their value. I don't think they're hitting home runs. And I'm trying to see if I can find anybody late, like a Chuba Hubbard, which, you could argue, but I think that's a little bit deeper conversation. I don't think he's in this top conversation. I think Sermon, you could argue, but he's not necessarily in this conversation. So if I had to rank these guys based on their ADP, as we know it right now, as we're predicting right now, who are the most valuable players? This is a good way to look at it because this really separates your thinking. You know what I mean? Like you're like who has the potential to win a league? These are like league winners. You could also rephrase this league winner rankings. So who are the league winner rankings here? Let me rewrite this. League winner rankings, top 5, upside top 5 rankings. I think Carter could be in here. I think he's in that Sermon range. Like it's almost like a in the extension of this, like top 10, league winner or whatever. But we're going top 5. We're going heavy. These are guys that you're paying a very reasonable price, and you might get top 5 running back production. We can throw Carter in. I don't think Carter is gonna crack it, but we'll throw him in. I think he's like in this range, like top 10. Carter wins you a league producing top 10 running back numbers. I won't say top 5 yet. So he would be in the conversation, I think, had we made this a top 10 ranking. And we could throw him in and see where he would slot because we always go a little bit deeper, you know what I mean? So number 1, based on where you're drafting him, Taylor's a good run. Like Taylor can be the number 2 running back, I would say. Like that would be his ceiling in my opinion. But you're getting him at 6 or 7 overall. So I'm not going to necessarily scratch him out, but I'm not going to put him 1. JK, a lot of times you're paying top 15 overall value, and I think that because he's sharing carries a little bit, we don't know how the usage is. I'm not going to say he stands out. Akers, people are drafting Akers 10 or 11 overall. There's more risk baked into his value than anybody else. Clyde's going in the 5th round. The 4th round sometimes. 3rd round, 3.4, 3.5 to 4.5. Depends on the league. Gibson is going in the 2nd round, sometimes 3rd. I'm going to say that it's Harris, number 1. Harris has the most bang for the buck right now, given what we know about rankings. So Harris has the biggest bang for the buck. He has the best upside, top 5, league-winning value out of all the running backs in Dynasty heading into 2021 because you're getting him in like 2nd round. He can climb all the way up from, he can more than double his value. Monty should be considered too because he was number 4 overall last year and he's being ranked in the 3rd round. So I can get behind that. I don't think he'll crack the top 5, but I can understand why he'd be listed. So it's a good one. I think next up would be, given that he's a 2nd to 3rd rounder, but could be like a top 3 to 4 to 5 running back, Gibson. Harris and Gibson so far are the Steelers did help their offensive line a little bit, bro. Like definitely worry about it. So Harris, Gibson are 2 of the best league winners in fantasy football right now. Pretty clear-cut guys that can completely explode from their ADP, and even if they disappoint a little bit, have a hiccup or they trip up, they still could probably earn their value. So I think we're looking at this right now. Who's number 3? So we have Gibson. I'd probably venture to say that it is Clyde's right here. He's already on the list. Clyde has the biggest potential to go from 3.5 to 4.5. So we're talking about the biggest climb in ADP. He can go more than 1 full round. He can more than double his value. And if he doesn't, he probably very comfortably earns his 3.5 ADP. So as of now, these are your top 3 league winners based on value and return on investment, your ROI potential. So your ROI potential, return on investment potential. Can't even read what I'm writing. I can't fit everything on the board. Man, this is tough. So we've got Harris, Gibson, Clyde. I mean, I want to put JK here. I want to put Taylor here. Taylor is still going from like 7 or 8 overall to like number 1 or number 2. Still seems like a whole heck of a lot of value. The more I look at it, the more Carter feels like he could actually crack the 5, at least 5 or 6 or 7 spot. Because what if he gets the volume, and you think he will, and what if he's as good as we think he could be? I would go Taylor over Siege based on offensive balance. Yeah, but Damon, I agree with you that he deserves to be like talked about here for sure. But keep in mind that we're talking about ADP too. Like he's going from number 6 or 7 already ranked. In Dynasty, some people have him 5, bro. So JT being ranked at 4, 5, 6 overall, going to number 2 overall, it's not as big of an impact. You know what I mean? So I'm that's why I keep leaving him out. I'm tempted to go back to him. I think he could probably crack the top 5, but I'm tempted to say that the upside from number 6, number 5 overall, it's not as impactful as a Javonte Williams or even a Carter. And Akers is going at 10, 9, 11. So I'm not feeling that either. I think I'm going to go with Jay Williams here. Part of me wants to go Etienne here. Crazy that the rookies are consuming this. It just goes to show that this is a craftier landing spot in my mind, digesting it all, later on, multiple days later out of the NFL draft. I'm thinking that this value could be pretty darn good. Oh, God. I mean, here's where Taylor, even though he's only climbing maybe 5 or 6 spots, he still feels like an excellent value. But, God, do we put Carter here? Do we put Etienne here? Do 3 rookies really crack the top 5 upside? I'm going to think on this for a second. I'm going to read your comments. That in the 6, though, is outstanding. Jay Monty has a wide range of outcomes. He won't finish number 4 again, but he could be top 10. Let me put your comments on screen. Interested to hear what you guys think of this number 5 spot. I know a lot of you are going to want Jonathan Taylor here, but again, it comes down to he's getting drafted at number 4, 5, 6 overall. Voice says Monty will finish 15 to 20. I think I'm going to go with, again, these are upside, top 5 upside rankings based on return on investment, ROI. These are league winners based on their value. These are not the rankings of, my top 5, obviously. But these are guys that can, I think, explode from their draft value. I'm going to go ahead and say, God, I kind of like Etienne. I like Carter and Etienne here. I think given their cost, I'm going to do a tie. I know I'm putting rookies here. Looks like I'm super high on the rookies, but Carter and Etienne tied for that 5th spot, only because you can get them at bargain value when they potentially could hold top 5 to 10 running back number value. Carson, no, Ryan. Ryan, you're not going to find Carson love on this show, bro. I'm sorry. And Dynasty especially, like if you're talking about redraft, I could at least, I understand. But I'm not in Dynasty, bro. No way. Trust your gut though, Ryan. That's how I'm feeling. Those are my top 5 win a league running backs given their ADP, given the entry point of investment versus the return on investment, the ROI. These are them. Etienne and Carter coming in at 5 because people are doubting their situations for whatever reason. Javonte Williams is being very overlooked, undervalued, and Melvin Gordon's not anything close to a spring chicken. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is being completely disrespected when the team I think is going to lean on him heavily. Yeah, Jeffrey, I like going. Him and I go at each other well too. The rapper and I, we have good lives together because he's always him and I agreed more last night than we've ever agreed before. But he gets like locked on a couple players and then we disagree pretty hardcore on them. Like he thinks Chubb's like the number 2, and I'm like, hell no. Gibson number 2. Gibson can win you a league in the late second to early third. Harris can win you, especially in I want to emphasize, I love Harris in redraft almost more than I do in Dynasty. Harris can win you a league in Dynasty. If you're thinking he's gonna fall to round 3, you're joking yourself in Dynasty. But in a Dynasty startup, he could arguably go into somewhere, and he could be a top 5 overall player. That wins you a league. Gibson, same thing. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, same thing. Those are my guys. Smitty, do you think Mixon could overperform with Gio gone? I don't know that Gio affects things too. It helps him stay on the field on third down. I mean, they clearly want that to happen, but will he stay healthy, man? I don't know. I think Gibson has a good opportunity to outperform his ADP. Can you guys hit the thumbs up on the way in? We've got 40 to 50 to 60 people in here and 20 thumbs up. Help YouTube know we got to shovel this content out to more people looking for live streams right now. It all matters based on your engagement and your thumbs up, the comments you're throwing in. So please drop a thumb up. It helps me. It takes you 1 second to punch that thumbs up. Smash it. Mixon could definitely outperform his mid third round ADP. But is there a chance that he gets hurt? Is there a chance that he fails you? Yes, he's busted 2 straight years in a row. One of my biggest avoids. Him and Miles Sanders were my biggest running back avoids last year, and both of them left everyone hanging. And because he's going in the third round, I like him. I like him more than I did last year. But I don't love him. I like him at third round value. I'm out if he climbs into the second. Completely out. So that's all I got to say about that. Let's do wide receivers. Let's use a different marker here. Wide receivers. How much time we got before Coach comes on? Okay, we got some time. We got Coach Hugh Jackson coming on here in a little bit, former Browns coach. Let's do Dynasty wide receivers, and then we'll do the upside ones after that. So these are the Dynasty wide receivers. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. These are these aren't the league winners yet. These are just, we'll get to that after. So, I know this is going to be kind of a hot take. I get it. This is not upside. This is not league winning rankings. These are my normal Dynasty rankings. And I'm going to put Justin Jefferson number 1. I don't recommend anybody draft him as the number 1 wide receiver. You most likely can get away with a lot less of a cost of entry point. But he's my Dynasty number 1 Dynasty wide receiver. In every draft that I have that's a Dynasty startup, he's like my number 1 wide receiver target. I'm hoping I can get him. I'm truly hoping that he falls to me in the second round. This is my number 1 Dynasty wide receiver, with the caveat that you aren't spending any higher value than you have to on him, though. So please understand that. I mean, is Adams next, or is everybody freaking out about A-Rod? I covered it at the top of the show. I told you that I don't believe in the end A-Rod will be gone, but that's a guesstimation. It's not locked in. I have no true insider information other than people that are connected to people that are connected. A lot of hearsay. Everybody's spitting hearsay reports out there. Nobody has any true facts, and A-Rod's not coming out and talking about it in a way that gives us any indication that he's 100% not coming back. We're only hearing it from people that hear it from people that have talked to people that their barber, heard it being whispered in the hallway by someone's cousins, nephews, big sisters, babysitters, step uncle. AJ Brown. Yeah, man. I mean, again, I can't preface enough that you have to draft smartly. I'm not saying that anybody should draft AJ Brown at number 2 if you don't have to, and you don't have to. But I will say AJ Brown, vacated targets by Jonnu Smith, by Corey Davis. Guy's coming into his own, one of the most efficient wide receivers in the league. I mean, that's kind of how I feel. Like, I don't even know that I want to go Adams. You almost have to go Adams here at 3, but there's so many wide receivers I feel like are going to be so good. In a year and a half from now, Adams won't be above him in our rankings, and especially if A-Rod's gone. But it's also hard to rank Adams lower than this. Like, you almost have to... Man, I think we'll go Adams here. I could go back and forth. I think you're definitely talking about Tyreek here. You're definitely talking about Jamar Chase. You're definitely talking about Diggs. You're talking about Calvin Ridley, DK. As badly as I want to put Jamar Chase like up here, I think it's safe to leave him on the board a little bit longer. I think Diggs, you got to start talking about Diggs here. I love CeeDee Lamb. DK is not a bad option here. Deontay's got upside, bro, but he's such a risky dude. Yeah, I'm gonna go Diggs, Ridley. How am I leaving Hill out? It's so hard to leave Hill out. I almost got to put... I have to do this because I can't, in good conscience, leave Hill out of like the top 6. Hill and DK as like a tie. I'm sorry, I have to tie them. Hill, DK, Ridley, and you could argue any of these. You know what I mean? Like, you could swap all these guys back and forth. I don't think anybody's crazy having DK 3. I don't think anybody's crazy having Ridley 3 or 2. Ridley could be 2. Like I could see that. I wouldn't be shocked at all if someone had Ridley number 2. So we have Hill, Brown, Adams, Justin Jefferson. Okay, Lamb and Chase. So we'll go Lamb, Chase. I know I'm doing ties. It's almost not fair, but I can't decide. That's how close it is. That's how much I love having multiple picks in this range in a dynasty startup. I'd much rather trade away my number 5 overall instead of going Jonathan Taylor or going with Henry or going with a running back like freaking Dalvin Cook or even a Barkley. Like, I'd rather trade down and get 2 of Lamb and Ridley over a Barkley. I'd rather have Lamb and Ridley. I'd rather have Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson than have Dalvin Cook. I'd rather have 2 of those guys than Christian McCaffrey. So if I can, I'm trading down in 2021, which I normally don't do. But these wide receivers, and this doesn't make me think, like a lot of people say to me, Smitty, my counterpoint to your point here is that you should not be drafting wide receivers early at all because it's so deep. I totally disagree. And the reason I disagree is You're not going to get this level of talent later on. This is all right here for the taking in the early top 25, top 25, top 27 range. So you have to make sure you're in there. Just because this is deep and there are McLaurins or Evans type wide receivers later, Godwin, Allen Robinson, DJ Moore, even Hopkins has been left out, and I know he's older, but you're talking about in a dynasty a very big difference between those guys and Jefferson and AJ Brown or whatever. I'm all about stacking 2 or 3 of these wide receivers and building my dynasty around that. Like, one of my favorite builds right now that I have is Harris, Chase, Jefferson. I didn't mean to put Chase above Jefferson. And I believe it's Lamb or AJ Brown. And it's a slow auction and we're still drafting, but this is I spent a majority of my money. I still got enough money to get like a Clyde, or something like that. I don't have Clyde yet, but I still have money to get like a Clyde. I still have money to get a quarterback, but Chase, Jefferson, Lamb, and Harris, one of my favorite dynasty builds right now. Like, I love owning the youth and longevity and upside of this crew right here. Like, this feels legit. This feels like a team that can dominate for a decade, because Harris has got a good 4 to 5, 6 years, right? Chase, Jefferson, and Lamb are all getting started. They have a decade or more. That's how you build a dynasty. I don't build it around I don't build it around Allen Robinson. I don't blame you if you like him, but I don't build around a Miles Sanders or even an Eckler or even Aaron Jones. I don't love building around that. And I like Gibson, I like Taylor, I like all those guys, but I'd rather go after a Harris who's just getting started. I'd rather go after a Clyde who's completely undervalued. I'd rather go get a Javonte Williams. That would be my goal here, is to get like a Javonte Williams here or a Clyde. If I can do that and still get a serviceable, really good quarterback, God, if I could somehow get a Burrow or a Herbert there, we'll see how much money. I'm kind of trying to call out a lot of the big dogs that will eat up a lot of people's money, so that when Clyde does get called out, nobody's got the money to overbid on him. Nobody's gonna overbid on Herbert or Burrow or maybe Lawrence. If I can get Lawrence in here, even better. T-Law, get Trevor Lawrence. T-Law, like, that would be sick. I'm excited about building dynasty leagues like that. I love it. I love the project teams that can almost win now, too. Where are we at? Diggs, Ridley, DK. We got Hill. I don't want to leave anybody out and look like a fool. Let's see. DK. We got DK. Okay. DeVonta Smith, Hopkins, MT, McLaurin. God, you guys like MT here? I mean, I'm worried about him, but he's still young enough. I think DeVonta Smith needs to be here. I'd rather have him. I know some people will disagree, but I think he could be a number 1 to 5 wide receiver in a year and a half. Hopkins and MT. Let's make that a tie. So Hopkins, MT. McLaurin. We've got Evans. We've got DJ Moore. We've got Keenan Allen. We've got Galladay. We've got Ayuk, Jerry Jeudy, Waddle. I don't think I'm missing anybody that's like top 10 bound or anything like that I screwed up and left out. I mean, this is tough here. This gets tough. 13, 14, 15, 16, like in that range. You could argue Waddle. You could argue Ayuk. You could argue DJ Moore. You could argue Allen Robinson if you wanted. I mean, you could argue Galladay. Let's see. Galladay, Waddle, Judy, Ayuk. You could put Galladay. And remember, this isn't 13 because we've got a few ties here. So this is 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. This is actually 19. So let's fix this. It's really 19. And this is really 20 at this point. Because we got all these ties, 20. So this is 6, 7. This is a tie for 6. So this is 8, 9, 10. Oh no, 8, 9. So tie for 8, 8 tie. This is 10. This is a tie for 11. $13. What am I doing here? This is 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 1, 2. I think that's right. I don't know. I screwed up somewhere. Whatever. I don't care. McLaurin, Galladay. Let's get rid of the super team right here. Damn, I love that team. Galladay. How is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I guess that is right. 14. So Galladay. We've got Waddle. We've got Judy. We got Ayuk. Do we put Ayuk here? I think we could put Ayuk here. You could put Ayuk and Waddle here. So this is 15, 16. So this is 17. This is 18. This is 19, and then 20. So 17, I would probably say you could talk Evans, you could talk about Godwin, you could talk about Allen Robinson, DJ Moore. I'm going to go bold and say I really think Judy is going to be on a lot of people's radars very, very soon. Yeah, I'm going to put Lamb here. I don't like where Lamb looks. Lamb and then Hill. Hill here. Lamb, DK, Chase are all going to tie for my 6. Lamb, DK, Chase. And in fact, they're tied for 6. I think those 3 are fantastic on one roster. And I like that they're all going to be, well, DK might cost you a lot, but people are kind of down on them. But Chase and Lamb will cost you a little bit less than they should. Yeah, I like Lamb, DK, and Chase. I didn't want to put Hill that low, but, he's not a young dude. You got to get into that dynasty mentality. It's sometimes hard. You could argue Lamb in the 5 range too, but I think you want to draft him smartly. I think really proved he was 1 to 5 overall capable last year already. Already got MT, right? MT and Hopkins tied. Godwin. God, this is tough, man. Evans, Moore, Robinson, Godwin. I don't know. Right here, Right here we could go 1,000 different ways. There's no sense in even doing it because we're gonna be throwing names out like it's literally like 10, 15 guys. It could be. Oh man, but I think it's a good looking dynasty ranking. Like you clearly want to draft to your advantage. You don't want to take Judy where I have got him ranked. Like you can get away with Judy maybe later than that. DeVonta Smith, take advantage of that value. Like I feels really low to me, 10. I can't believe I have DeVonta Smith ranked 10 when he has top 1 to 5 potential, but it's so hard by default not to rank these other guys higher. And you can't. I don't think Higgins isn't. Higgins is definitely in the conversation of being in the top 20, but I don't. It's hard to put him in there when Jamar Chase is the alpha. You know, Higgins will do well. Burrow's going to feed both of them, but Higgins will be capped. And I said that since January, that everybody banking on Higgins being a wide receiver 1 could be extremely disappointed because in time, you know, Chase would be drafted, most likely, in my opinion, and it happened, and Chase would become the alpha, and so he's going to absorb a lot. Debo, I don't think Debo, Mark, it's going to be Ayuk. I think Debo's going to be good, but he's not a wide receiver 1. These are all wide receiver 1 capable guys right here, and then we kind of stopped ranking them. So let's go on to the the win a league top 5 wide receivers given the value. Okay, this is where it really matters. These are the top 5 league winners. Whoops. These are the top 5 league winners. Looking down the rankings, you've got Jefferson probably still as my 1, and he's my number 1 overall wide receiver in Dynasty, and he's still coming in at like 4, 5, 6, falling into the second round. I think that still makes him the number 1 wide receiver to get in 2021 because he can be the number 1 overall guy. He's freaking going in round 2, you know, especially in redraft 2 to 3. But that dude right there, he's my number 1. Number 2 is Lamb. Lamb could be number 1 overall. He could be number 2 overall, 3, 4, and you're getting him in a dynasty in a second or third. Like these two are so clear cut league. This is why both of these guys are 2 of my favorite to have on one roster. Ridley doesn't crack it only because he's getting drafted at the top of 2, round 2. He still needs to be in the conversation. Maybe I put him at 5 or something. He still needs to be in the conversation because so these are potential guys. So really we'll look at that in a second because he is top because he is top 1 capable. If you're getting him in mid round 2, then he's got the same, you know, in a sense, the same kind of upside that Lamb has. So like, how is he not? Maybe, yeah, you know what? Maybe Ridley is going to crack this. DK could, DeVonta Smith could. Ultimately Mike Thomas could because he's going in the 3rd round, and MT, you know, could be that good. D Smith, Judy, Ayuk. Judy, Ayuk, MT, DeVonta Smith, DK and Chase. Jeez, I think that's it. I don't see anybody else right now that's popping off the map. So You know what's funny is like when I started this, I'm like Ridley can't make it because Ridley is already going in like 12 to 15. But that's the thing, he could be the number one wide receiver. I'm gonna go DeVonta Smith, Ridley, and then as much as I want to put MT here, because he still could be, he still could be the number one wide receiver or something like that. Like, you know, if he gets healthy, it's DK or Chase. I want to say it's gonna be a tie here, DK, Chase. I hate to do ties, but in Judy. These are my win a league wide receivers, guys that you're paying value that they can explode from, completely explode from. Like, they could be top freaking 5 wide receivers, top 1 to 5 in some of these cases, and every single one of them you're getting in steal territory. You're getting in territory where the risk is kind of baked in. I like Chark problem, but not in the top 5. Like, is he in the later conversation? Like, this is a deeper list. Like, sure. Like, Chark was we were all over Chark heading into 2020, and what we let 1 year derail his potential value in all of our minds, right? And you got now Trevor Lawrence coming over. He could definitely be in this mix, but I don't think he's on this level. You know, he might be in the 6 to 10 range, but good God, this list right here, I want to own all these wide receivers. I want to own all these. Does Judy have a QB? Does Judy have a QB in this list? Question mark. I don't know what you're asking, Jerry. You're asking if this is like if A-Rod was on the roster. If A-Rod's on the roster, everyone and their mother is going to pretend they didn't doubt this guy. So that's not even, we're not even there yet. If A-Rod lands on that Denver roster, you watch everybody come out of the woodwork and pretend they didn't doubt this guy. We've got receipts in here. We've got replays. Everybody, we've seen you, Jerry Judy doubters. You're on record, bro. All of you Jerry Judy doubters out there, you're on blast. Okay? We know who you are. You're going to say, well, of course, I liked him. Man. That's a good-looking group of league winners right there. A good-looking group of league winners right there. Rob, I'm going to send you a link. I don't know if you're able to join right now. I wish I could copy this freaking link. Let me see. Rob. Let me send Rob a message real quick. Yeah, Ayuk's in there, bro. I mean, he's in the conversation. He's not in the top 5, but he's in the conversation. That's a good-looking group, dude. That's a good-looking group. These are the guys you want to own. What I'm trying to do here is tell you. Honest Abe says Sutton over Judy. No, Sutton's coming off a torn ACL. Judy's the alpha dog, bro. I like Sutton a lot. If A-Rod went to Green Bay, they would coexist, and you'd have 2 really good receivers. But Judy to me has top 5 wide receiver potential. Like, he can't get to that value without a quarterback. Let's be clear. I don't think Jerry Judy's top 1 to 5 bound until the quarterback situation gets worked out. But once he does get his quarterback, and keep in mind how quickly things turn. Everybody in here, this is Dynasty we're talking. We're talking Dynasty. Things turn around really quickly. Look at A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown was in a horrible place. Horrible place coming into the NFL. Mariota sucked, and Tannehill was hiding on the bench. Look how quickly we're a few years removed, and A.J. Brown's ranking number 2 on our rankings. So don't worry so much about the quarterback situation. Judy will still survive. He's good enough. He's the kind of wide receiver. This is why I have him ranked well ahead of Sutton. The kind of wide receiver that can still thrive and find a way to be productive. He's one of the better route runners. His footwork and his route running is so on point. He's magnificent in terms of route running. Honest Abe, what has he done? It's a good question. And Honest Abe, it's an honest question, bro. It's an honest question. But let me tell you, there have been DBs, bro. There have been DBs that have said that multiple defensive backs that have said the hardest wide receiver to guard in the NFL is Jerry Jeudy. That's crazy. For a wide receiver that's coming off of a rookie year with no quarterback carousel of garbage, to have multiple DBs say that Jerry Jeudy is the toughest wide receiver to guard in the NFL. What does that tell you? That tells you this man's being capped, and his upside is going to be through the roof. His upside is through the roof. I mean, his potential is going to be through the roof. So you'll see if you do any sleeperu.com partaking, you might want to check tonight because something's dropping about Jerry Jeudy tonight. So if you are a sleeperu.com member, get on over to sleeperu, the letter U, like a university of sleepers, sleeperu.com. There's something dropping about Jerry Jeudy, broskies. It's coming in hot, and it's coming in, I'd say by midnight tonight or earlier. But DBs in the NFL have identified this man right here, Jerry Jeudy, as one of the better route runners, toughest wide receivers to guard in the NFL, and that's with no quarterback. Do you feel what I'm throwing down, bro? Alabama wide receivers are on a different level. They are, bro. I get what you're saying, Smitty, but everyone on this list has great and good tier QBs. Can't trust him. Again, that's why he's here, bro. That's why he's last and squeezed into this 5 spot. Because if he had a quarterback, you'd all be talking about him. All of you. Everyone in here would be talking about him in this range, locked in, not trying to hang on to a tier and get share a seat. These three are sharing a seat. These three beasts, and 2 of these guys are the biggest receivers in the league. How are we fitting them in the same seat to begin with? Even this chair, you couldn't fit all 3 in. Jeudy, mark my words, Jeudy, anybody that doubts Jerry Jeudy right now is going to regret it. They're going to regret it. This dude's route running is insane. Don't worry about him dropping footballs. Devontae Adams dropped football. Like, everyone drops footballs. Give him a break. He had a rookie quarterback, or he had a horrible carousel of garbage quarterbacks throwing him the football. What do you expect? You know, I love to analyze every drop ball he had too. I'm not saying he didn't drop passes, but let's give Jerry Jeudy some time before we start calling him a guy that's gonna fail. Who to pick at the 9th pick in a first-year dynasty depends who's on the clock, bro. But I think you wouldn't be crazy to go dynasty startup. I'd try and get Justin Jefferson with your 2nd pick, but I don't know, man. It just depends on who's available. You could go DK there. What do we got? Rob, dial in, bro. Dial in, Rob. I got Coach Hugh Jackson coming up. I got Rob coming up. Tight ends. I suppose we could do tight ends real quick until we get a call. League winners. Let's just do the league winners. Let's just do the league winners because I don't know if we're going to have time for anything else. I don't even know if we're going to have a potential. These tight ends are just... Okay. Let's just put Pitts in here now. Think about it. In a dynasty startup, Pitts is going high, right? But is he going high enough to where he's not going to completely crush his value? I think he still could. It depends on where he goes. where have you guys been seeing Kyle Pitts go in your dynasty startups that you've been toying around with? Somebody give me a couple examples of where you've seen Kyle Pitts overall go in a dynasty startup. Kelsey is a league winner. Yeah, but Kenny, he's going. I mean, I guess with tight ends, we're gonna have to put those guys in there. But I'm trying to identify like guys where you're drafting them and they win you a league. I don't know that drafting Kelsey in at 14 overall is gonna have the impact that we're trying to like convey here. Kittle, if Kittle fell to the third round, you could put Kittle. So Kittle in the third round, if he has third round value. Pitts has been going 1.5. That's in a dynasty. That's in a rookie draft though, bro, right? I'm talking about a dynasty startup. We're talking about like where can he win a league in a dynasty startup. So has anybody done a dynasty startup recently where they know where Kyle Pitts went in that dynasty startup? I also have a trade offer I want to show you guys, and I would like to know what you think, because this offer is on the table for me in a league. And why do I not have airdrop available? This is very frustrating. Mid fourth. Okay, so I would say like in the 4 to 5 round range, that does put Pitts in a win a league, category. I don't know if we can even do win a league tight ends here, because we're not talking about like Kelsey wins your league or whatever. Like we're talking about value, like Etienne or Hawkinson, or I don't even think there's anybody that's going to win you a league. I mean, Kittle in the third would be a good value. Kelsey in like mid 2, like mid 2. I've seen Kelsey go at the end of the second. Oh, in Dynasty, he's gone in the third. So Kelsey in the third, I would say. And I've seen him going in the 3 in Dynasty. Kittle in 3. Pitts in 4 to 5. Logan Thomas really late, maybe. Etienne really late, maybe. Fant really late. Waller's going really high. I don't know that you could put him in here, but I mean, I like Waller a lot, but I'll be drafting in a league with Waller and Coach Hugh Jackson with Plug and Clock, who invited me to this league. And here's the offer that was sent to me in a Dynasty league. I've got the McCaffrey side. So I'll be sending away McCaffrey, Chark, and Waller in a Dynasty for Aaron Jones, Kittle, and Ridley. What do you guys think of that? Is that a good deal? Not a good deal? Debate it. Tell me what you think. I'm curious what you guys think of that. Aaron Jones, Kittle, Ridley. Aaron Jones, Kittle, Ridley. What side do you guys like? You like the McCaffrey side more? The problem is going to be if Aaron Jones is left without A-Rod, which I don't think will happen. But if he is, I like Aaron Jones a whole lot less than I did. Kittle is very injury prone. Believe it or not, Kittle is younger than Darren Waller. I don't think a lot of people understand that. Kittle is younger than Darren Waller. Kittle's more injury prone though, but Kittle is younger than Darren Waller. Aaron Jones is going to fall off a lot if A-Rod's gone. Ridley, I want really, really badly. But yeah, I mean, and especially in this league, I've got a really good team. This is a This is a follower league that we did on YouTube here. And let me see if I can pull it up. This is the quarantine mock draft. My team is pretty solid. Let me send it on over. Okay, so here's my team, just so you guys get context. It's pretty much an easy decline, but I just thought I'd throw it out because it's definitely a good conversation to have with you guys. So I have Mahomes. This is Dynasty. Mahomes, McCaffrey, David Montgomery, Mike Thomas. Hold on, that's Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson.
What's up, my man?
Hey, man, you're live on the Fantasy Football Show, by the way.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we got 52 people in here currently. Hit the thumbs up if you're in here. This is former coach of the Browns, Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson, you're coaching. You got a coaching job just recently. Tell the people
Absolutely.
what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm gonna be coaching at Tennessee State University, working with Eddie George. He's the head coach. I'm going to be his offensive coordinator. Looking forward to it.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let me put what's your IG handle?
Hugh Jackson 5.
Hugh Jackson 5. Okay, put that on there. So what have you been up to? Tell the people what you've been doing the last couple of years. You're working on a few different things.
That looked like Hugh Jackson 4. How about Hugh Jackson 5?
Oh, good God. Giving that guy a plug, an unfair plug. So tell the people what you've been up to, Hugh. Coach,
I've been up to a lot of things. Obviously, football is the number one thing, but I also have a tequila brand, Grand Leyenda Organic Tequila.
Nice.
Very excited about that. We have all 4 marks. We're one of the fastest growing tequilas for country wine and spirits, which is our online service, and we're scaling this business everywhere. So I feel real good about that. And I have a foundation, the Hugh Jackson, at hughjackson.org. We fight human trafficking.
That's awesome,
so,
man.
Involved with that, we have a residence that we partnered with the Salvation Army in Cleveland at the Harbor Light District, where we house human trafficking victims.
And where can people find more information on that?
They go to hughjackson.org.
Hugh Jackson. Look right?
That's it.
Okay, that's it. We'll keep that up there the whole time. That's awesome, man. That's amazing. That's some good stuff. Hugh Jackson's such a good dude. We're in a league together. Jay the Plug and Clock Management, they invited me into a league that has Hugh Jackson, T-Pain. I'm excited to play against T-Pain, and he doesn't know what he's doing. So it's going to be fun. But we have Andy Holloway from the Fantasy Footballers. We have Michael F. Florio from NFL Fantasy. We've got a bunch of good a group of people in this, and then Darren Waller is in this league. So I'm excited to draft against you, Coach, and Darren Waller probably most.
Oh no, it's gonna be fun. I mean,
Yeah.
What an experience! Just to be around some everyday guys that work hard, that enjoy the game, passionate about football. That's fun.
Yeah. Now, do you mind if we talk rookies, Coach? Because I respect your opinion and your evaluation process, and I'd love to talk about the quarterbacks. Do you have a favorite in this 2021 QB quarterback class that stands out to you? Like I'm feeling Peyton Manning feelings right now. I'm feeling like this is it. Like I get those feelings a lot because I'm always scouting from a fantasy perspective. I've done this 19 years professionally for fantasy football, so I get excited about it. I get really into it. I do pretty good with quarterback evaluations in my past. I'm on the longest running fantasy football radio show in the world on CBS Sports Radio, or it's one of the top 2 where someone said that they had one longer, but I haven't validated it. But so I've been dropping those kind of bold predictions and stuff for 19 years. I feel really good about 2 to 3 of these guys. to the tune of maybe top 6, top 7, overall quarterback potential. That's a big chunk of the quarterbacks in the NFL. To have 2 or 3 of them in the top 7.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you like most in this class and why?
Well, let me say this. I don't know that there was anybody that knocked me off out of my chair. I mean, I didn't feel the Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, or even my man who came from Stanford that played at Colts, Andrew Luck. I think there's some really good players in the group. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence is considered the best. He was the first overall pick. Then you have Zach Wilson. You got Trey Lance. You got Justin Fields. There's so many guys that way. The guy that I feel like has the most upside is Justin Fields, and I'll tell you why. I think there's not a throw that he can't make. The guy is a 4.4 athlete that can really run and get away from people. So he's going to cause more headache to defenses because of his athletic skill. And then he played in Ohio State. So he played in a very good division against very good competition, and he held his own, So I know a lot of people comparing him to the other quarterbacks that left Ohio State. I think that's a little unfair because he transferred from Georgia. And I think he's really, really talented. And I think all these quarterbacks and all these guys could be great. But at the same time, I just know the things that make guys great. You got to be in the right situation. And what I mean by that, coaching, the talent around you that's going to help you be everything you can be, the environment that's created for the quarterback, those things are so important. And I think in Chicago, people would say that's not the case because of what happened with Mitchell Trubisky. But I really think they have an unbelievable coaching staff, a really good defense. They still a few pieces away of a receiver for him, but I really think that they will get that corrected.
Yeah, I mean, I get the appeal. I was in a lot of 49er forums and debates on, which quarterback was going to land in San Fran, and I did think it was going to be Lance from pretty much day one. And I think he gives him that aspect of designed running. I know Fields can run. Fields is quicker than Lance, but he's not that Cam Newton designed runner, on top of, I think, being a pocket passer as well, and one of the stronger arms in this class. I think Lance fell into the best environment, and I think Lance will probably, if he starts right away, which I know there's debate about, and everyone thinks Jimmy should start. And I also am in the minority in thinking that Lance will probably start week 1. Jimmy G hasn't played healthy in over a year, or since week 1, I'd say. So I don't think Jimmy G is just going to be handed the job. We don't even know if Jimmy G will perform Lance, and I think that they've even kind of hinted that it will be a competition. But I think with the weapons, Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, number 1, number 2, number 3 running attack in the league, they drafted Sermon. This is going to be a really, really easy environment, I think, for Lance to pick things up, and then that added running ability, especially from like a fantasy football perspective, puts him on a whole nother potential scoring level. But my 2 favorite quarterbacks skill-wise are Wilson and Lawrence, and I do get that Peyton Manning feeling out of Lawrence. I think that he could become a top 5 really quickly. Maybe not in year 1. We'll see flashes of it like we did with Burrow last year and Herbert. They weren't, they were kind of like that, especially Burrow. But I think that in 1 year, 1.5 years, we're going to be looking at a guy that's going to be talked about in the top 1 to 5 for quarterbacks in the NFL. But what are your concerns with Lawrence? Do you have any? Is it offense? Is it coaching?
No, I think he has a great cast around him. You got a former college coach who understands the college game, and he's trying to mesh that into the National Football League. Got Darrell Bevel, Brian Schottenheimer on offense. My thing with Trevor is I don't know if he's a pure passer as everybody says he is. And I think the other part of his game is his ability to run. But we're talking about a very tall guy that's really leggy. And those defenders are going to go after that. And these quarterbacks only have so many hits in their bodies. And if you don't have natural running ability, it's hard to be a big-time runner in the National Football League. Like you just mentioned, Trey Lance designed runs. Well, I like to see him. And don't get me wrong, he's going to be one of the best coordinators in football. But you got to understand, these defensive players, they don't play. You go running and you run 4.6. That's a whole different deal than a guy that runs 4.4. and who doesn't have design runs, who can take off and run anytime he wants. You're more worried about that quarterback than the quarterback you're designing runs for, because I can see those on tape and I can find a way to defense those. So it's a whole different mindset in the National Football League. So I understand what you're saying. And Zach Wilson, I think he's talented. We'll see. I mean, those guys, for me, I'm a wait and see guy. You mentioned Joe Burrow. We knew what Joe Burrow was going to be. He's one of the best quarterbacks in this league, in my opinion, right now. They just can't get him injured anymore. Yeah. And obviously Justin Herbert lit it up. But if Joe Burrow doesn't get hurt, he's going to light it up just like Justin Herbert did.
Yeah.
So
I like Burrow a lot in like dynasty fantasy football, because he can, he can be had very cheaply, even if you tell people you're taking him, because there's just so many quarterbacks that are going to go ahead of him. From Kyler to Lamar to
Baker.
Yeah. Well, not Baker. In fantasy, he won't get taken higher, but Herbert, Allen, Mahomes, like all those guys are by default going to go ahead of Burrow, and like you can announce.
I'm willing to bet you on that one.
Which one?
On Baker.
Where?
He's going to get higher than some guys that I think you mentioned.
Okay. We'll come up with a little side bet.
I like that.
Promotion.
Yes.
Little promotion, little story post. Something like that. Yeah, we'll come up with something. Baker versus like who? Name one of the guys that I said you think will be over. We'll pick one.
The last one you said Burrow. You go, he would be ahead of Burrow. I don't
Baker
know.
over Burrow?
It might be.
What about Herbert, Josh Allen, Kyler?
No. I wouldn't put him over those guys.
Okay.
But when you said Burrow, I would. He's right.
Well,
he's right in there.
I worry a little bit about him being ready, so that it wouldn't surprise me if because he was I'm pretty sure he'll be ready for week one. Everything I've talked to a couple doctors that do fantasy football evaluation, and everyone seems to think he'll be fine unless he has a setback. But that one's closer. But I'll take that. I'll put my.
Good. I only say that because physically he may be ready. Mental for the quarterback, you got to be ready, and you need to tell me how much did they improve the offensive line.
Pretty. In my opinion, Coach, and you can tell me if you think I'm wrong, because I've been pushing this out for a while, but adding Jamar Chase does more for protecting Burrow and stretching out the defense than people I think are giving credit. I think you draft a guy.
Oh no!
Well, they got an offensive lineman, Coach.
You got to stop right there. Now you just said a receiver is better at protecting.
No.
Joe Burrow.
He does more than people are giving credit.
He can't protect Joe Burrow.
He's stretching the field, Coach.
Stretching the field ain't got nothing to do with protecting Joe Burrow.
Well, you're gonna see.
You had AJ Green. You had the young kid from
AJ
Clemson,
Green.
Higgins. Oh, I coached AJ Green.
But he's older.
No. I don't care if he's older or not. He can still run, and he's still respectable in this league. You're talking about AJ Green.
He's in the Cardinals, so I'm happy to see him. But
and Tyler Boyd.
Yeah,
that wasn't good enough.
So you think they messed up, is what you're saying?
I'm saying that if you don't protect this guy, we just watched when he didn't have very good protection, he got hurt.
Right.
He got hit a lot. He probably was the most hit quarterback in the National Football League until he got hurt.
Right.
So if you don't protect him, you may not have him. So mentally heading to this season, if I'm Joe Burrow, I love that I got Jamar Chase, but where did you improve for me on the offensive line?
They drafted offensive lineman. It was a deep class.
They drafted a guy that they said who played tackle in college that's going to try to make a guard. I'm not talking about guards. I'm talking about the guys on the edges that's got to block Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney, those goons that's at Baltimore, the goons that's at Pittsburgh. You got to block these guys. Hello.
I mean, you make a point that a lot of people make. So definitely you're not alone, Coach. And majority feels the way you feel. I know that an example, and this is a different scenario, but I always give it to people, is that Arizona had a bad offensive line when Kurt Warner came here, and a quick release, spread out attack did numbers for that. And I feel like Jamar Chase is such a difference maker, and you're gonna see a stretched out field. To me, I'm not saying it's better directly. Like, of course, drafting Sewell directly helps protect Burrow more. But does Jamar Chase and other moves And you're right, they could screw those moves up. May have picked the wrong guy, and in that I can't defend that. But if they sum total give Burrow, like Burrow, why did Burrow want Jamar Chase then? If you think that was his...
he should want Jamar Chase. I'm not saying that any quarterback doesn't want a proven weapon, but the weapon is not why you got hurt. It wasn't because you had nobody not stretching the field. You got hurt because you couldn't block anybody. So they changed the offensive line coach. This guy that's there is a good offensive line coach, but a coach is only as good as the players he coaches.
Yeah.
So you got to give me more talent. You gave me one guy from Clemson who was a tackle who we're going to put at guard. And is that enough? Yeah, they drafted another guy, but you got to have some real guys. When I coached in Cincinnati, we had real guys. Andrew Whitworth, Andre Smith, those were my tackles.
We'll see if they get it done. If they can piece together a better offensive line than people are expecting, I think we're going to see this offense completely look different in 2021, and I don't mean it in a bad way. I think Burrow.
Oh no, I don't disagree with you if they can, but that's a big if. I'm gonna say this again. Within that division, you're now blocking Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett. I didn't even talk about the young man who's at Pittsburgh who is playing his tail off right now. One of those Watt brothers. So trust me when I tell you that is a tall task.
Yeah.
Within the division, you play them twice. You don't play them once. You play them twice.
Well, it does come down. It does come down to coaching, and it does come down to whether they can piece together a good enough offensive line. I agree with that. I just think to pass on Jamar Chase would have been a big mistake, in my opinion, because
I'm not running from that.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I understand the Jamar Chase pick.
Well,
but I'm saying if you do that, you still need to support what is a franchise quarterback on your team.
Would you have taken Sewell?
I didn't. Not before Jamar Chase. No.
Okay,
that's
so
not what I'm saying. I'm saying you have to maneuver. You gotta work your draft board to get linemen. You don't have linemen.
So, but here's what I'm saying, because it sounds like we're actually on the same page, though. Like I agree with you with all of that, and I don't know.
Yeah, but you said piece this together. You can't piece just piece.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like figure out on your draft board who has the most upside and make sure you don't screw the picks up. But they may have done that, like what you're saying. Maybe they didn't bring in the right pieces. But you're saying you would have drafted Jamar Chase over Sewell.
Oh yeah, I would have did just.
So we're on the same page. Like I'm saying
on the same page as far as the value of the pick.
Right.
When he was picked, their football team. For their football team, they needed offensive linemen.
Okay. So what would you have done if you were on the clock? Would you have taken Jamar Chase and done a better job drafting offensive linemen?
If I was on the clock, I probably would have drafted Jamar Chase and did a much better job. I would have been trading up.
Okay, so
to go get the next
we're on the same.
That was on the board.
We're really on the same page, Coach. Because
but we're not.
We are in terms of Chase. Like Chase.
Yeah, we are with Chase.
That's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, drafting Sewell wasn't a better move, and everyone argued with me about that when I said Jamar Chase was the pick. I don't disagree with you that if they screw up the other piece, the other component of this, which I don't know. You have more knowledge on what's going to happen with that offensive line after the draft than I do, so that's why I'm talking to you. And if you're telling me that they didn't do a good job, then I believe you. But I'm telling you, I still would have drafted Jamar Chase.
I'm saying to you, where are the offensive linemen that you're going to count on? Where's the difference makers that from a year ago, you got rid of the right tackle, you bring in Riley Reef, and remember this about NFL teams. They don't get rid of good players. You don't just let a good player go. So you now have Riley Reef. You have the young man from Alabama who hasn't made it really through a season, who is a left tackle. You've been void across center and both guards. So where is the offensive line for this quarterback?
So what do you think is going to happen in 2021? You think it's going to be?
I don't have that. I don't know. I think they're still right now they're either the third or fourth best team in the conference.
Okay. I will take we'll figure out some way to do just a fun story bet that Baker versus Burrow. I'll take that just because I love Burrow.
I love it.
Okay. So, Coach, let's talk about running backs.
Mm-hmm.
Najee Harris landing in Pittsburgh. Obviously, the volume is going to be there. People worry about the offensive line. People worry about the longevity of the quarterback spot. Like, is Roethlisberger going to be able to even play a full year at his old level? Like, what's your take on this situation for Harris? And from like a dynasty perspective, I don't know if you've ever played in dynasty fantasy football, but you think more long term than just this year. So you might draft a Harris ahead of a running back that in like maybe you have I don't know, trying to think of a running back against right like Derrick Henry. You'd rather have Harris over Derrick Henry, even though Derrick Henry is legitimately ranked higher in redraft. It's a different mentality. So can you paint a picture for this landing spot for Harris, and what are your concerns, and what are the good pros for this landing spot?
I can. I think the pros are, it told me the drafting of him where he was drafted at Pittsburgh means that they're going to pivot into some of the things they were doing. They were a pass first team all the way. I think now they want to be a little bit more balanced than what they've been in the past. Maybe they don't have all the skill at receiver that they used to have when you had Antonio Brown. Okay. And I think they need to continue to develop the skill at receiver. Having a guy that you can turn around and hand the ball to is so important. Mm-hmm. And if Pittsburgh, when you think of Pittsburgh, you used to think of the running game and defense. Now you think of the passing game and defense. So if this big back that they took fits right into the old Pittsburgh mode, he's big, physical, strong, and he can really run the football. So I think they're going to make a commitment to go back to running the ball. The disappointing part is there's a big cog of the offensive line, a center and a guard, and tackles that are gone. So they got to refurbish their offensive line, and you have a quarterback who last year, as the season started to wind down, he looked like he was done. Mm-hmm. So all those things are concerning. But at the same time, we're still talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we think normally they find a way to get it done. So we'll see what happens.
And Etienne got drafted into a cloudy, from a fantasy perspective, spot. Like from a football perspective, breaking it down, I mean, it's not a bad pick. Like Etienne can catch the football. After the top 2-3 wide receivers are off the board, you could argue he's one of the best pass catching players left on the board. And so Urban Meyer, not making a mistake from a football perspective, but from fantasy, man, James Robinson was like a second round pick. People were amped about his 2021 season and future. Undrafted free agent, finally getting a shot potentially. What's your thinking about why Urban Meyer did this, and where do you see the value a year from now? Like, is Etienne going to be I don't want to call him a workhorse, but like a Gibson or Kamara type player in fantasy or in the NFL, or is it going to be a divide for a couple of years? Like, what's your take on this? Because it's cloudy. People are not sure what to do.
I totally understand. You said it. The young man came off a fantastic season last year. You would think, boy, that's one position they didn't need to go get a first-round draft pick in, right? Yeah. But that's the difference when you bring in a new head coach. He wants what he wants at running back. It's not saying that the young player is not a good player who played last year, Robinson, but he sees something in Etienne that's going to help them do what? Win football games. Coaches are not worried about, fantasy. They're worried about trying to win. And so there's something that Travis Etienne is going to bring to this team that they're looking for, else they wouldn't have made him a first-round draft pick. So I think he's going to be used because they got to show his value to the team. That's where you picked him. Mm-hmm. You have another guy, as you said, was a free agent that had an unbelievable season. I'm not saying they're going to just cast him off, but I don't think his role will be as big as it was this past year.
Yeah. Do you think James Robinson could still, especially with the extra game, rush for like 1,100 yards and 5 TDs and have no real huge PPR role, or what are you expecting out of the workload divide?
Yeah, I don't see the 1,100 yards. I think he can run for 5 touchdowns because I see as you get closer to the goal line, they're going to create a role for him to run the football. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm going to say it again, Travis Etienne's on that team for a reason, so that's why I don't see James having that big upside this year.
Do you think that Etienne in a year and a half could be getting a Antonio Gibson type of workload where it's, 10 potential touchdowns and like, I don't know, 500 rushing yards, 600 rushing yards, maybe 700 receiving. Like, could he be that kind of player in the NFL? Fast?
Oh, absolutely. I spent 3 months with the young man, training him at the House of Athletes. He's extremely talented. He has great initial quickness and top end speed. You said it earlier. He can catch the football with anybody. He's very intelligent. He understands the game, and he loves it. And he's very passionate about it. So I would be surprised if he didn't turn into that type of player.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Yeah. We had him. We were doing some rankings earlier, and he was in the top 5 for Dynasty. Again, long-term thinking, win a league value. Like, you can get him so far because the situation is so confusing with J-Rob being there that people are overlooking him to a win a league type value potential. Okay. What about, do you know much about Michael Carter and him landing in New York Jets uniform in a place where there's no competition? People kind of liked him as a crafty, like 3, 4, 5 overall running back in this draft class. So he was not like overlooked at all. And he landed in arguably the second best initial spot for a running back because volume will be there. Do you like Carter?
I love him. I love both of those backs that came out of North Carolina.
Yeah. Do you think Carter could be do you think they're going to lean on him? I mean, they have no other option, but do you think they'll lean on him as an every down back right away?
I think they will. I mean, I think he's going to prove himself, as you said earlier, to be the best back on that team.
Yeah.
And if he is, he's going to be out. He's going to be put out there. I mean, if those guys are as talented as we think they are, you got to play them when they're young. You don't play them when they're older. You play them right now. So he's going to get a chance to prove his worth. And I think he's going to do a great job.
Yeah, it's amazing that, like, from a fantasy football perspective, that a guy like James Robinson couldn't escape a running back, but then a team like Miami didn't even draft one, or Buffalo. Like, these were spots that I felt like were more like 100 times more likely to draft a running back. And it's crazy. Gaskin, he should play the lottery because he escaped that one pretty. What do you like Gaskin at all? Do you think he's tough to value?
He just said it. I mean, because you gotta ask yourself, what are they gonna try to create with that football team now? You just drafted Waddle, right? So you got these very talented receivers. You got a quarterback that you drafted extremely high. That doesn't tell me I'm going to go run the ball. It tells me I need to throw the football. And I need to get this quarterback better. And the only way he's going to get better is by passing. So I just think, I think it's a good draft for them, the young man they drafted. But what he's going to mean to the fantasy football league, I don't know that.
And wide receivers, and then maybe we'll get to Kyle Pitts after this, but DeVonta Smith, I love. I think DeVonta Smith, I don't care about his weight. That's the only negative. He led everybody in college football by over 600 yards receiving, led in receptions, touchdowns. And then you hear people say, oh, he's going to get just manhandled at the line of scrimmage in the NFL. But he was also, I believe, number 1 in press coverage in FBS. Like, everything to me, aside from his weight, and he's lankier. He's not like, he's not like he's like a Hollywood Brown build. He's a lanky, I don't want to say Randy Moss because Randy Moss was heavier, but Randy Moss looked like a rail. And so I think a little bit like that when I look at DeVonta Smith. But do you think DeVonta Smith has any bust potential, or are you thinking like people are crazy? I think
they're crazy.
Yeah.
I think they're really
like
crazy.
That.
I think he has unbelievable upside. I think he's going to prove everybody wrong. You ask some of those corners that's going to have to defend him. They're not going to be standing up there as close to him as the people think they will be, because he has big time speed, initial quickness, suddenness. He can get away from people. Like you said, he proved that in college, and he's going to prove it in National Football League.
Yeah, you couldn't touch him. You know what I mean? Like, you press him. There's a reason he was like number 1 in press coverage, is because when you tried it, you got burned. And he knows he can catch every ball that you throw to him. He can run every route. I love Jamar Chase. He can go up and get the football probably better than anybody in the last, I don't know, maybe DK, like from the draft classes coming out the last like 5 years. But DeVonta can still do that too. Chase could do that a little better than him. We'll see. But DeVonta can do everything else. And so, Eagles, good landing spot. There were a couple of spots I wanted him to go to. I wanted him to fall into to the LA Chargers. That would have been phenomenal with Burrow. The Bengals, but that wasn't going to happen that high. So I like the Eagles landing spot, but do you think, I'm a little concerned about what the Eagles are doing. I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong if you've heard differently, but I believe Peterson was probably ousted because of how he handled the Hurt situation. There was like a divide in the locker room. I don't know what other reason they would have let him go, if you have any inside information on that. But basically, I think just handled that situation completely wrong. And this new coaching staff comes in and they won't commit to Hurts. So I'm like concerned that they don't know what they have in Jalen Hurts. And I think Jalen Hurts has that top 5 to 10 quarterback potential. And so that's a little concerning for me when Smith lands in Philly and it seems like a mess. They've always messed up their draft picks with receivers. They took Rager instead of Justin Jefferson. I don't know if you saw that Vikings video when when they started laughing.
Yeah.
So Philly concerns me in general, but what's your take on this Jalen Hurts, situation and what happened with Peterson?
Right. Well, let's back up. As you say, first, let's talk about the Peterson situation. I think there's an article that just came out, I think about a week ago. I think it was ESPN. Maybe it wasn't ESPN, and I have it somewhere, that really talked about the divide with the executives. Not so much, Peterson with the team. It was with the executives. So when you have that kind of non-collaboration, that non-alignment, that's what it normally leads to, somebody getting fired. So he fell on the sword for everything that's gone on there. I think Peterson's a dang good football coach. And obviously, you watched the team a year ago. Where did they struggle at for Carson Wentz and the offensive line? And again, they didn't have any receivers too. Who was Carson Wentz throwing to? Who was Jalen Hurts throwing to? So you go get this receiver, but I'd say the same thing. You still got to fix this line to give Jalen Hurts a chance. And now you have a rookie coach who's never been a head coach with a different staff, and you just said it. I mean, how do you make that happen first? You can't give him the experience he needs without him coaching. And then you got to make sure that Jalen Hurts is ready to go. This guy, I will say, is a quarterback guy, so that helps. But at the same time, how do I mesh this guy with DeVonta Smith with an offensive line that I'm not sure of in a division where Washington has the best defense? Yeah, that's going to be something to see. But I think, you said it, the last couple of years, they've struggled with making draft picks. I hope we don't waste the Jalen Hurts opportunity, because he's a tremendous football player. And if they don't do the things that's going to help him be as good as he can be, it's going to hurt the organization.
Why does it, like, if you were coaching the team, what makes some coaches back their players, give them confidence, try and, put everything behind them to get the most out of them, and other coaches say, we don't know if we're going with Hurts, he's not the guy yet. Like, what makes a coach think that that's the right approach? I don't know that you want to. I mean, he already got benched in, he I think it was week 15 or week 16. I forget what week it was, but he started. Jalen Hurts had a really good first start. He blew up. It was like week 14, I don't know if anybody in the chat knows. And then he did amazing. Like, I remember Dynasty Worlds after that one start, we're like, oh my God, this guy's a top 5. Everybody had him just like through to the moon. And then he came out and struggled the next game. Then he got benched. And what makes a coach, coming out of that situation, new team, trying to get his players to rally around him, and then he doesn't put confidence behind the only option, the logical option, to be the quarterback? Why would you cast doubt at all from a coaching perspective? Does that make sense to you? Or
Yeah, well, it does, because sometimes it's not the coach's call. You remember, the coach don't own the team. There's owners, there's GMs, there's an alignment piece.
Yeah.
And you got to make sure you know exactly what that alignment is. We can say all we want. The problem is everybody thinks it's the coach.
Yeah.
So he has to wear it. It may not be the coach.
And you telling me that the divide really was at the executive level tells me that Sirianni was told, you're going to do what we say. Or, so that makes sense. And that worries me a lot, though. That worries me a lot.
Absolutely. If you can't make the decisions for your football team, you might as well get ready to pack your bags now, because it's just not going to work.
Yeah, that seems, you're a placeholder at that point. So, hoping everything works out, and I believe Hurts will win out. His talent's too great. And I think he connects really well with DeVonta Smith, and DeVonta Smith has a huge, huge career. Guy's a top 5 potential wide receiver in my mind. I love that people doubt him. I love it. It reminds me of so many other situations that look 2020 clear as day. Like when Adrian Peterson came out, there was half the world was like, this guy's too tall, he's too upright, he won't make it, and half the world loved him. And then later on, everyone's like, no, he was the clearest option ever. Like, we didn't doubt him. Same thing with Jerry Jeudy. I think Jerry Judy's going to be a force in this league, and he's got so much doubt in the fantasy circles about his situation. But if A-Rod, and we'll talk about that next if we could, if A-Rod ended up landing in Denver, Jerry Jeudy would be, because A-Rod does this for a living, turns wide receivers into elite potential players. Jerry Jeudy would be top 5 in the league. Top 5 to 10.
Teddy Bridgewater, he might be top 5 in the league.
Yeah, who knows? Jerry Judy's he's such a good route runner. Multiple cornerbacks have said that the toughest wide receiver in the league to guard has been Jerry Jeudy, and that's coming out of his rookie year. That's insane.
Oh, he's something now. He's really, we don't hear enough about him, like you said, because he doesn't have the quarterback to just keep feeding him the ball. But at the same time, he is one of the best receivers in the league.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, especially so A-Rod. A lot of speculation. I don't think anybody knows anything, to be honest. I think A-Rod, I think this is the last report came out, coming from, who was it? James, I think I have it on here. Former wide receiver, was it James Jones? Came out and said that he thinks it's fixable. The last report we had before that was that A-Rod was not returning, 0% chance he was returning. But these are all like people hearing it from other people, a lot of degrees of separation. What are you hearing, and what's your prediction if you had to make one, whether A-Rod returns to Green Bay or does head to Washington or the Raiders or Denver? Those are the top 3 spots people have been tossing around.
I think he returns. I think the organization is not going to let him go.
Yeah.
I think if they thought that Jordan Love was the answer, they would have shipped him out on draft day.
Exactly.
And obviously that's not what they feel, and I think they know that. So you still want to win football games. That's the name of the game. You're there to win. And so I don't see them doing that. I think they will mend this rift between him and them. I think there's some work to do on both sides, but I think it's fixable.
Yeah, I think they have zero upside of moving them after the draft. The only thing you could explain would be like they messed up. They thought they could fix it, and now they can't. And they're like, if we knew that we couldn't fix it, we could go back and get the number 3 pick from the Niners. The Niners did call, and they would have been willing to make a move on draft day, and the Packers were like, no, we don't want to do it. So I don't think after turning down that opportunity for the now, like the number 3 pick would have helped them remedy the vacancy and situation that would be created by getting rid of A-Rod. They're not gonna. I think it's gonna.
No.
They won't send him packing. So, Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, all their fantasy values are tied to A-Rod. So I get a lot of questions on that. So I'm glad to hear you say that, because I kind of feel the same way. But it's guessing. We don't know. But he could go Jeopardy style. Go. Become the Jeopardy host full time, and maybe he retires. Like, who knows?
I doubt it. He's a football player. He loves to play the game.
Yeah, and at his age, I highly doubt he wants to sit a year and try and come back and end his career that way. That would be tough on him coming back and trying to get back into the football mindset if he took a year off. So I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's trying to. Right. The most recent report from James Jones was that he's trying to rattle his saber around, because nothing else was working, and I think he did probably create some change, or he's going to effectively get what he wants. And I don't know if that had anything to do with who they drafted, Amari Rodgers, get him a wide receiver. They've been failing to get him a wide receiver for how long now? Like, I don't understand that. You come out of a draft, really good draft class last year with no wide receiver.
Well, they didn't lose a game because of not having a draft receiver, right? I mean, you got to go back and ask yourself, they played one of the biggest games on the biggest stage, and they didn't stop Tampa Bay. You got to be honest with what it is. What you see is what it is. And I think sometimes people make more to it than what it is. Now, that being said, do you want to support a quarterback that is as talented as he is? Absolutely, because he's going to do more for you when you give him that support. Yeah. But last year, they didn't lose because they didn't have. Now, that might have frustrated him, and he says, listen, From here on in, I want to make sure we're putting guys on offense that give me a
Yep.
chance to score 40 a game as opposed to 25, 26.
And I think
totally get that.
Yeah, and I think players like A-Rod, they see someone like Tom Brady be like, "Get me Gronk, go give me this, give me that," and it happens. I want AB. I don't care about his problems. He can move into my house. I'll watch him. Like Brady's.
Well, I want to take you back. Think about what the Kansas City Chiefs just did with their football team. They went and got an offensive tackle because they played in the championship game without both tackles. They lost, and they go, okay, you know what? I don't want you guys back, and I don't want your other guys back, the guys who are the starters. We're gonna rebuild this, but we're gonna start in the offensive line. They went and got one of the best tackles who left Baltimore, who said he wanted to be a left tackle. It's my point to you about being intentional in fixing something.
Yeah.
There's all kind of ways to do it,
Yeah.
but you got to be intentional about doing it. Just watch what Kansas City did. They said, hey, look, we're going to protect Patrick Mahomes. That guy is our future.
And that looked like a bad situation a month ago, and look what they did. It's like, wow.
So as my point to you, everybody had that chance. They got offensive line problems.
Right. So
that's why I feel what I feel about the Bengals.
Right. And
that's
why
I feel about anybody who has a quarterback that they don't.
And that's why I think we're more on the same page than I may have painted the picture. Like it was Jamar Chase, but it was also these moves that they didn't potentially make. Like if I was controlling the situation, I would have done exactly like you said, what Kansas City did. Get Jamar Chase. What do you got to do now to go improve this offensive line? Because the Jamar Chase thing, we can't replicate that. We could potentially do other things to get this offensive line fixed. I agree with you on that, and maybe they didn't do enough, and we'll find out on that. But okay, last player I'll ask you about here, Kyle Pitts. Everyone pretends they found this guy, in fantasy. Like, oh, he's been my prospect from the beginning. I watched him in Pee Wee football. I've been the one that's called this. Everybody wants to claim that they knew this guy was coming. Kyle Pitts, is he as can't miss as it gets from the tight end position, and what's his ceiling value?
Well, we're going to find out. I think everybody wants to compare him to Travis Kelce and some of the greats who have played the game. He has to come in and demonstrate that first. He's played like a guy outstretched out more than anything, and that's where you see all the talent. Not that he can't play on the inside, but people got to understand he's now going to play against defensive ends in the running game. They're going to run the ball in Atlanta because he guy just came from Tennessee where he had a dominant running back. So my biggest concern is how is he going to handle that? They're going to have to manage that. So I think the first year, he might not be as dominant as people are looking for because he's going to have to learn how to block. And still, they're going to have to get him his own personal wins with scoring 4 or 5 touchdowns. He scored 5 touchdowns this year and has over 600 yards receiving. I think it's a great year for him.
Okay. And one other question, because I'm sorry, I wanted to ask you this earlier. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, a guy that a lot of fantasy football analysts missed on because we overdrafted him. I don't think it was a mistake. I understand it didn't work out. COVID, I don't know if it messed with a lot of these rookies' potential pass blocking, learning, and that created no PPR role for a lot of these guys like Clyde. What's your take on Clyde walking into year 2? And do you think that a lot of the potential he had in fantasy to be a top 5 to 10 running back is still there for him, and we're just going to see a bit of a delay? Or do you think that this offense won't allow him to be as good as we all hoped, which is like top 5 to 10 running back potential, like Alvin Kamara type?
I think he has that potential, and he's going to run for more yards than catch, right? I think we get that. I think the ability of Patrick Mahomes and the receivers, Travis Kelce, the little fast guy, Tariq. I mean, those guys create a whole different dynamic for a runner because people play them to stop the pass first. So you're going to have opportunities to run the football. That's why he came on so strong. He got injured. I mean, if he doesn't get injured, we're not even having this conversation. But he got injured, and he's coming back off of that. I think the guy's going to have a tremendous second year.
All right, I'm glad you said that. He's one of my – I haven't really backed off, and not because I'm digging my heels in. I've over the years learned how to, go in a different direction, adjust and adapt. But I have been, I feel like it was just a bad set of circumstances. Again, I think COVID definitely hampered a lot of rookies. developing quickly. And I think that them getting rid of Damian Williams was kind of out of the, shocking to a lot of people because they thought, oh, Damian's going to come back and it's going to ruin Clyde's value. They're like, no, we believe in Clyde. I think this guy has so much upside, and he gets no credit. Like everyone's saying, he won't be the goal line back. He won't be the goal line back. He struggled, but this guy needs to be used properly at the goal line. Those 7 stuffs that he got were bad design plays. Like as soon as he got the football, there's 5 people sitting right there and he just got swarmed. And then everyone says he won't be the goal line back. Reed loves him. Veach loves him. Like this is their Brian Westbrook. They said better than Brian Westbrook. Like they're not going to give up on him. And he had a good year.
No, he's their guy and he's going to have a good year this year. Yeah.
Okay. Coach, you can find Coach at hughjackson.org. Doing amazing things. And you can find him on IG at HughJackson5. And your Twitter is Hugh Jackson. What?
Hugh Jackson 5.
Okay, so Twitter and IG Hugh Jackson 5. Go. I appreciate it, Hugh. We pretty much agreed on almost everything, but the Burrow thing, I probably confused matters with the way I worded it, but
no, it's okay.
A lot of good insight, man. I love hearing it from a coach's perspective. Like, you definitely helped mold some of my thinking, heading into 2021. So I love hearing your perspective. But thank you, Coach. And
thank you.
I look
for
forward
the opportunity.
And I look forward to playing you in this league coming up here.
Let's go.
All right. See you, Coach.
All right, buddy. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hugh Jackson. Good guy. Good dude. I loved hearing a lot of the stuff he said about Clyde. I loved hearing about his thoughts on DeVonta Smith, and he thinks DeVonta Smith can be an elite wide receiver too. We had a little disagreement there on the Bengals thing, but I think I just didn't. I don't know if I was wording it wrong. Wrong. We were pretty much in agreement, about what we were saying. But I felt like I was getting blasted there because I was wording. I don't know if I was wording things wrong. He's right though. Like here's what he was trying to say, and I think what I didn't, convey properly on my end is that Jamar Chase was the pick. And I've been at odds with people forever on this. And it started to feel like he was saying that wasn't the case because of the way I think I worded the question. But he agreed. There's no other pick to make than Jamar Chase. The problem is what he was saying, which I wasn't saying that was for sure happening. I don't know what the Bengals are going to end up doing with this offensive line revamp. You know what I mean? Like I may have it wrong in terms of trusting the Bengals to do the right things outside of drafting Chase number 5 overall. But Coach, he said he would have taken Jamar Chase. He just would have been aggressive to go get offensive line fixes and help. They are bringing back, what's his name though? We didn't talk about that. Their first round pick last year, I think. So there's opportunity there. I think the Bengals will be better on the offensive line than people think. But Coach is right. They should have been more aggressive. They should have done what KC did. They should have taken Jamar Chase, and I'm glad he agrees with me that Chase was the pick. But after taking Jamar Chase, then you go aggressively attack the offensive line position in a way that I don't know that they did. But I still think long term, let's say Burrow struggles for half of a year, they're not quite where they need to be, and they walk into next year and fix it. The bottom line is you can't get this opportunity back to get Jamar Chase on the roster. I get that Sewell would have been a better initial year one answer for this problem, or first year of fixing it. But long term, if they tackle the spot right, they tackle the offensive line right, they can get Jamar Chase and that's the difference maker. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire, very interesting stuff. DeVonta Smith, I loved where he went with DeVonta Smith. I love how he talked about, I love the take on A-Rod, because that's exactly what I started the whole show with, that A-Rod's not going anywhere. Everyone's saying he is. Everybody loves to break the news. Everybody loves to be bold. 0% chance A-Rod returns. Why would you report that? Why would you report? How the hell do you know that there's a 0% chance that A-Rod's going to return? You just heard Coach, and you heard me at the top of the show tell you that what's Green Bay have to gain getting rid of A-Rod after the draft? If Green Bay was going to move on, if they felt comfortable at all after signing Aaron Jones to a long-term deal, after, everything that they've done to build for the now, you think they're going to give up the opportunity of getting the number 3 overall pick from the 49ers to address the quarterback position that they're sacrificing in getting rid of A-Rod? You think they're going to pass on that opportunity to just get future value only? Heck no, bro. Heck no. This is going to be one of those things that gets dialed back slowly and pulled and reeled back in. A-Rod's going to remain a Green Bay Packer. I don't know with certainty. Obviously, anything can happen. Nothing shocks me anymore. I wouldn't say there's a 0% chance A-Rod gets traded, but I'd say the odds are, if there were odds in Vegas, and maybe there are, maybe someone could find those for me right now, and I could be dead wrong, but I would venture to say the odds of Rodgers staying in Green Bay have to outweigh any other odd impossibility. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. But Hugh Jackson's the man. Appreciate him. Go follow him on IG, Twitter, and hughjackson.org. And the dude's doing amazing things. So good dude, awesome dude. I loved having him on. He's so fun to talk to too. He doesn't beat around the bush. He's definitely polite, even when he disagrees with you. Makes me feel like I'm getting yelled at just enough that I feel motivated. I want to do some push-ups. I want to run a mile while he's yelling at me. Love Hugh Jackson. Anyway. What do we got to do? We got literally like 10 minutes. I might end the show about 5 minutes early today. But I want to thank all of you for making the show a good success early on here. Here's a fly. I've been trying to get this guy for like a day. Or he's a gnat. Let me turn this down. If I catch this gnat, a tiny gnat, on TV with fake chopsticks, I never want to hear anybody complain about anything ever again. No. All right. He'll come back. He'll come back. Anyway. What was I saying? I liked what he said about Clyde. I loved what he said about Clyde. I liked his breakdown on Harris and Clyde. I love what he had to say about Jamar Chase. I will say I wasn't extremely thrilled, but this is honesty. We asked Coach to come in here and hit us with some honesty. Are we overthinking Kyle Pitts? Are we overvaluing Kyle Pitts? Because Coach wasn't as thrilled about his rookie campaign as a lot of us are. Maybe he's right. Maybe we're all freaking out a little too much heading into this guy's rookie year. I don't know. This is the one thing that he said that I didn't fully agree with. Like, I agree with him on the Jamar. He was arguing with me on the Jamar Chase thing, but we were we were more aligned than I think he thought. But I loved everything he had to say. Like, we agreed on everything, except for I was hoping for a little more excitement on this one. So, because I respect Coach so much, because I respect what he has to say, I wonder, I'm just taking a quick step back and going, am I expecting too much because of the physical talent this guy's bleeding out? Am I expecting too much as a rookie? I don't know. The DeVonta Smith haters are crazy. Yeah, I asked him that. J Problem, I said, are they crazy? And Coach said, they're crazy. He said, in so many words, if you doubt DeVonta Smith, you're crazy. And I agree with him. I think anybody that thinks DeVonta Smith's going to get manhandled, a guy that you can't even touch, he's so quick, his footwork's amazing, he's crafty, he's swift, he's speedy, he's elite, he's electric, his footwork's amazing, his route running's fantastic. If you think he's going to get dominated at the line of scrimmage when he dominated the FBS at the line, best wide receiver in press coverage in FBS in 2020, and this is the guy that is going to get dominated because he weighs less. Give me a break. Somebody have said this before. I'll say it again. Your mic is awesome. Thank you. Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. If you catch that gnat, A-Rod is gone. Bro, I don't want to catch the gnat now. He won't fly around here right now. I don't know if I have so many lights in here. He's probably, over in the corner having a field day on one of the other LEDs. Take my ugly mug off screen. Oh, man. Good stuff. Good interview. Thank you, Cobbin. Thank you, Cobbin. Kenny Power says I smashed the interview. Hugh Jackson was great. What's up, voice? I appreciate all of you. And I think I'm going to put the out music on. And we're going to head on out of this biatch. Anybody has any questions? This will be a rapid fire. Oh, here he is. Trying to get a gnat. Not a fly, a gnat. This little dude's little. This guy's like, he's quick like DeVonta Smith. He's little. This gnat is little. He's not like a fly. Everybody's doubting this gnat because he's less weight. He's smaller, but he's quick. I can't catch him. This is press coverage right here, and I can't find him. This proves it. This proves DeVonta Smith will succeed. Okay, rapid fire fantasy questions on the way out. Hit me with it. Quick. Rapid fire. We're going to go through 2 songs. Once the second song, once I repeat it, we're done. Show ends. Rapid fire. Waller, Sanders for A.J. Brown and Mixon. Waller and Sanders for A.J. Brown and Mixon. A.J. Brown and Mixon, even though I like Waller a ton, even though I like Sanders a ton, Waller's older than Kittle. If you're talking Dynasty, you go get A.J. Brown. Mixon's good enough. You could trade Mixon or play him. But take the best player at 1.1. Take Pitts. I don't know if it's tight end premium, maybe. Tight end premium, maybe, but not if it's not. You got to take Harris or Chase, man. Waddle ceiling. I kind of feel like Waddle will be a second round wide receiver. You'll be kind of like, a lot of people feel like Galladay is going to tear it up this year, and a lot of people hate Galladay. I feel like that's where Waddle is going to be value-wise for people where they might draft him. Galladay was getting drafted in that 2-3 round turn when he was healthy, and if Galladay returns to form, that's where he'll go. And I feel like Waddle's got that kind of potential, which is good. That's a top 25 to 30 player. So I like Waddle. Does he have upside for more? Yeah, I would say his ceiling might be higher than that. That's my expectation. Try and trade Devontae Adams in Dynasty. I mean, I try and trade anybody, bro, if I can get the right value. If I can get Justin Jefferson, if I can get Ridley. Yeah, I'm doing that. I'm probably doing that. But I do believe that A-Rod, we have no guarantee that he'll stay, but I do believe Aaron Rodgers will stay. And so Devontae will be protected. Last music run through. I feel Harris is smoke and mirrors, maybe. I disagree. Smitty, I'm torn between Harris and Chase at number 1. I'm leaning Chase. I think that was in addition to this question, what you just said. If you need a running back, you go Harris. If you need a wide receiver, you go Chase. They're pretty dead even to me. So I'm okay going. If you feel Chase is the pick, trust your gut, because I'm right there. I go back and forth. I think I killed him on my leg. I cheated. That hurt though. Oh, I think I have Chase at number 1 sometimes, and I do kind of flip back and forth, and I have Harris at number 1. But they're so close. Go on based on need, bro. Based on need. How many leagues have you drafted in so far this year? Not as many as last year. Probably 4. So not anywhere close to where I was last year, but I might do some dynasty leagues with you guys. I'm not sure. I hate adding more dynasty leagues because those don't go away, and then I'm stuck with adding more and more and more. Let's see. Smitty, thank the gods you are back. Where did you go? Where did I go? Jimmy, I haven't gone anywhere, bro. I put a YouTube video up a day. broski, and I'm live every single Tuesday and Thursday for 3 straight hours. Every single Tuesday and Thursday. I go live at night in addition to that. Don't call PETA. We got him. We got him, gents. We got him, but we had to kill him the old-fashioned way. And that means A-Rod is staying. A-Rod's staying. All right, one more music run. We'll take this up to the full hour. But what do you mean, where have I gone, Jimmy? Where have I been? I've been live all the time. I'm live more than anybody. Jimmy, explain yourself, bro. I don't know what this means. Where did you go? Where did I go? Kenny Powers says, I appreciate you though, Jimmy. I'm not yelling at you. I'm just confused. I'm confused. Where did I go, Jimmy? Where did I not meet your standards of going live and uploading a video pretty much every day, having a podcast up on my audio pod, which you can find at smitty1.com, which is right behind my head. Are you not listening to my audio podcast? What the hell is wrong with you? smitty1.com. Fantastic show as always. Thank you, Kenny. I'm still waiting for Jimmy. I want to know where I failed Jimmy. I want to know where I failed you, Jimmy. Just started a dynasty for the first time. I may have messed up. I traded my first and second round picks, but have the 15 rookie. I have 15 rookie picks in the next 2 years. It depends. You got to give me more details than that, which we don't really have time for. But I don't know, bro. YouTube lost the connection? What? I don't know, bro. I think your internet wasn't working. Thanks for another great show, Smitty. Enjoy your night, bro. Thank you. I appreciate you, King. No notifications. Sometimes YouTube throttles the notifications and doesn't send them out. I'm not sure, bro. But I'm live every Tuesday and Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern. You can't miss it, baby. Put it on your calendar. Pittman, I like Pittman a lot as a deep sleeper. A deep sleeper, bro. A deep sleeper. Not somebody that you're taking early or anything. Who is your 1.4 in the rookie drafts with Chase, Etienne, and Harris gone? So Chase is gone, Etienne's gone, Harris is gone. 1 QB. So Chase, DeVonta Smith. Easy. I don't even care. I don't even try and get cute, J Problem. I don't get cute and try and get him later and trade down. You take DeVonta Smith. He's going to be top 5 wide receiver in the NFL, in my opinion. And you heard Coach. He agrees. I'm out of here. Jimmy. Every Tuesday and Thursday, bro, I'm live. And I go live at night a lot. So check it on out. Get the app. The app will give you notifications if you didn't get the email. I'm not sure. Take it easy. Peace out, everybody. I'll see you Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern. And who knows? I might go live tonight. At like midnight. I go live at midnight a lot for my night crowd because I got a big night crowd. My night crowd doesn't even make this one. They got to watch the replay of this show. But my night crowd, I take care of. So 2 nights a week minimum. I'm going live at night, like midnight. Midnight, probably like 1 a.m. Eastern, somewhere around that range. Later, everybody.